Okay, so we should be seeing something starting just a moment here.
Here we go. Yeah,
Why is it not
it's just
coming alive? Maybe it is. Do you
yeah.
see anything on your
Yep.
Perfect.
I think so.
This is Doug and Retrocast, and welcome to Amiga Art Contest 2022. This now marks, believe it or not, like the 4th year that we've done the art contest, and really amazed at the amount of love that's come, the amount of beautiful pictures that have come, and I'm really excited to be doing it again this year. And I'm also very excited to host this year with my good friend Kevin Saunders, also known as Invent71. So, for those of you who don't know Kevin, why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself?
Nice to be part of the stream today, and it's going to be a long journey today. Hey, we'll see if we can start. The years we've Richard and I have been making reshoot games, and I've been having just being very active in the Amiga scene, and probably a lot of. We'll probably share some links later on, just to be part of this stream and help be one of the judges this year.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are interested in artwork, almost any kind of artwork, Kevin and I created a Facebook group earlier this year. Maybe it was late last year, called Amiga Artwork. And I think we're like 350 members or so, something like that. That's a number. But Amiga Artwork on Facebook, we talk about different art programs, and we share our Amiga artwork. It's really a fun group. I encourage, if you still use Facebook, it's getting fewer every day, to join the artwork, because it's a lot of fun. So let me talk a little bit about the contest. If we have any new listeners out there. We started it in 2019. I started it in 2018. How can we get more people in the community doing things other than just playing video games? Because obviously there's a ton of Amiga people out there who just honestly think, okay, I play the machine, and that's what it is. With a machine it was, and how groundbreaking it was in so many there. You could hook up to for 100 and edit your own videos and combine beautiful graphics. No, not for money to pay for it. So people just needed to be reminded that videos more games. So, now for the first two, really good friend, you will know this place was co-host the stream, but anybody that follows me knows that over to her manga, and I'll provide the links. I'll put it down in the description. It's really cool hand-drawn. He's kind of migrated away from the thing. So she's so busy editing her manga. We brought on a new
Hey Doug,
Doug,
can you hear me just quickly? Sorry to cut you off. The audience is saying that the audio is not too good at the moment. It's a bit choppy, or it's audio is not good.
Okay. Let me take a look and see if we. Someone tell Doug he can stop talking.
People have got a good sense of humor.
That's really fun. Okay. You entertain
Sure. Hopefully people can hear me a little bit while Doug's looking at the audio part of it. We've spent quite a lot of time looking through it, and there's heaps of chills. Very difficult actually to choose, and you'll see as we go through the stream that hard it was. But, it was certainly very nice to have some insight into seeing what people have submitted, and there's just been some brilliant work soon. We probably should stop speaking, maybe. I'll just check the chat. Yeah. So, Vamp, are you saying my audio is a little bit better than Doug's? Okay. Amiga Show says mine's a little better. That doesn't bode well, Doug. That means I'll have to speak all the way through the stream.
Yeah. I'm just busy making some changes here, and everyone tell me if things start to sound a little bit better.
Better now, apparently.
Okay, it does sound a little better.
There you go, Doug. If it sounds good.
Better now. And let's hope so.
The birds. I can't cut the birds off outside. Chirping birds. Hopefully closing that window there might help.
Okay, I'm going to make a quick change to my audio output, because I think that might be having something to do with it, and we're going to test it right now. Let's find it.
Okay, it's got bad again apparently.
Okay. I've just made a change to how the audio works from my end. Kevin, can you still hear me?
Yep, you'll clear my end.
Okay. And then let's see if our friends in the audience can hear, and see if anything sounds better at this point in time. Let's see what they...
How's the sound, everyone? Is it still worse? Now it works. Good. Okay. Great. I think so. Yep, it's coming good.
Better?
Now it works. Good. Excellent.
Okay. All right. Just briefly, what's going on is my audio was the same to talk to Kevin as I was to send my audio to and I think that was probably overwhelming the lame audio chip in my laptop. Honestly, it's a Realtek chip in a laptop. Snow Paula. Please back to what we were talking about. 1 second. Chat. There we go. All right. So what we did this year with voting, of course, Kevin and I look at everything and we vote on the actual images, and it's not just based on the graphics quality or the number of pixels or anything like that. It's a lot of it's based on the feeling behind the pictures, the motivation behind the artists who created the pictures, just the amount of creativity that's gone into it. And then, since he and I both have patrons on Patreon, which I encourage everyone to become a member of both of our Patreons, all of our patrons had a chance to vote on the images too. They had a sneak peek of them. Aren't they lucky? And they were able to take a look and see which images they wanted to, and their votes influenced our votes. So in cases where Kevin and I were on the fence on a couple of images, well, do we want this one, first place, second place, third place, what? The patrons came in and we took their votes into consideration, and they pushed people over the edge. So thank you, bless you, my patrons. You guys are wonderful. Thank you to Kevin's patrons too. Holy guacamole. Okay. Let's try this again.
Sure.
Let me just make sure real
yes,
quick that I don't have
we'll
one of my children at
and,
home who's decided they want to download
looking
a
through some of the artwork. What I found quite interesting
megabyte
was
file
what software people have been using. So a lot of people have been using Lightwave for
again, if you can
their
entertain
3D
the troops,
work,
Kevin.
and I'm just trying to think of some of the entrants. And we've got some older entrants as well. So they're not recent creations, which some have been discovered on tapes and other materials, and it'll be pretty cool to show them off too. So it's always nice to see stuff that people have on their drives and they've never shown it to the public. Okay, the sound for me, right, so Kevin seems to be 30 seconds ahead of the stream. I am in the future, so that's that could be one. I think I'm 10 hours in front or something. It's 6:43 here, and Doug's 1:43 p.m. So yeah, and we're the same too. There's just myself basically. So
Nobody is using my bandwidth at the house.
I don't know. It's probably not as bad for me. I can hear you because we're connected to Skype. So
all right. All right. How is the? Let's see. How is the audio now? Geez, no, I'm getting great uploads. That could not be it.
how are we going, everyone? How's the audio? Is it still? Is it better? Yeah, we've both got pretty good connections too. You know, we were talking about what 100 megabits.
Yeah, we both got really good connections. Oh, how frustrating.
Mm.
All right, let's see. I'm going to change the audio bit rate. I'm going to change the video bit rate. Okay, I've just made a change on the bit rate of the audio to see if we can get it to stream clear. And oh, Pixels at Dawn says, I was a bit of a robot there. How do you know I'm not really a robot? Really?
Okay.
Okay, Roar says the audio is
Might be a little
good.
bit better.
So maybe that last change where I reduced the bitrate of the audio
Scratchy.
has made it a little less stressful on the system. Okay. Amiga show. Oh, Anthony Jarvis. Hello, buddy. Yep. He says it seems better. Okay. And please continue to let us know, because I can tweak it a little bit more and reduce it just a little bit more. I apologize, everybody. And again, I tested this thing like for the last week. I did some test private streams. Of course, it's perfect every single time I test it. Absolutely flawless. We go live, boom, everything explodes. But that's the way it is. Would we expect anything different? So, moving right along, how I'm presenting the artwork this year. I am using my lovely Amiga 1200. This has my Blizzard 68040 card in it with an Indivision MK2 adapter, the Yen's video adapter. That allows the Amiga to actually work in the resolutions it supports and has supported since 1993, like 1080 by or 1920 by 780, no, 1024 by 768, and then 1280 by 1024 and 1280 by 720 resolutions in full ham 8. The MK2 allows any monitor to display it, and the reason most monitors can't display it is because they have some really funky scan rates. But see, there's my real Amiga screen. We're going to be doing all of the images through the Amiga 1200. We're going to be doing some of the animations, some of the mod files, and all of the photos through the Amiga. There's a couple things I have to play back on my actual PC, but I'll explain those when we get to it. Let's talk about the prizes here. First and second place in each category is what was pre-announced, but as of yesterday, I've decided we're also going to mention the third place winners, because we always ask our patrons for first, second, and third, and just because I want a little bit more recognition for everybody and for more people out there. And the third place winners, what they're going to receive is a cool certificate like I sent out last year to the winners, and an 8x10 picture of either their image or any image that they want. So I thought that'd be fun to add a new position. First place winners, they get a random gift from our wonderful sponsors, RetroReady.one and RetroRewind.ca. RetroReady.one is over in Europe. Retro Rewind is here in the good old North America. And also Retro Games Ltd, the ones that came up with a C64 Mini, C64 Maxi, A500 Mini. We've got prizes from them too, which are just fantastic. I'll be contacting the first place winners and trying to get the best prize for everybody. We've got Raspberry Pi for the Amiga 600. We've got a Raspberry Pi interface for the Amiga 500. We've got Retro Games Ltd joysticks, gamepads, mice that are going out there. And as a special thank you to our first place winners this year, I've contacted Graham Cowie, who you also know as McGeezer. He just came out with a new video game, Devil's Temple, just the other day, and he has graciously contributed several copies of Devil's Temple, and they're going to be going out to first place winners, fully licensed, on these cute little flash drives that look like little floppies. So in addition to your regular prize, you're also going to get a flash drive with a fully licensed Devil's Temple and a selection of other free games like Miss Pac-Man, Scramble, things like that I'm putting together for you. So that should be fun. Second place winners get a $25 gift card from our fantastic sponsor, Frank, from Retro Rewind. And the grand prize winner will be receiving their own A500 Mini, which was graciously given to us from our friends at Retro Games Ltd. This is a lot of fun, and I may put a flash drive in here that's got some free games and things like that on here too. So That'll be fun. Before we head into the actual artwork this year, Kevin, do you have anything else to say before we move on to the submissions this year?
Oh, only that I'd like to be in the competition this year, but no, it's the prizes are fantastic. Actually, it's unreal. So
yeah,
it's exciting to.
I just absolutely love how our vendors come together and they want to help and they want to help support something like this, like the art contest.
Certainly very appreciative of all the, as you said, all the sponsors and people who've donated.
Yep. So let's get right into the artwork then. Our first category we're going to go into are 3D images, which is a fairly popular category and been getting more popular over the years. I remember back in the 80s trying to explain to my math teacher, who was an absolute computer nut. He had Commodore 64s, he had Apples, he had PCs. I was trying to explain to him about ray tracing programs on the Amiga in 1988. And he's like, what's ray tracing? I don't know what ray tracing is. And I was telling him about turbo silver and these beautifully generated spheres and globes with lights. He's like, no idea what any of that stuff is. That's because the Amiga was a pioneer with 3D. You guys all know the juggler animation from back in the day and everything. But let's take a look at our first contributor. And it is somebody who is in the live studio audience, our good friend, Anthony Jarvis. Now let me tell you about Anthony Jarvis. He has a YouTube channel called The Amiga Show. This YouTube channel is done, I don't know exclusively, but almost exclusively using a video toaster, and it is the coolest channel you're ever going to find, besides 10-minute Amiga Retrocast, obviously. You know, let me just preface that. But check out his channel if you can. It is absolutely fantastic. This one, of course, we all recognize this from Tron. Recognize the recognizer from Tron. It was done in Lightwave at 1920 by 1080, rendered on a 68040 Amiga 1200, and then he rendered just the wireframe of the Inquisitor. I think he did that on another machine so he could add the red glow around in image effects. So that cool bright red glow is not something from Lightwave, it's something from image effects. And of course, Anthony, in the chat, if you want to add anything to it in the chat or answer people's questions about it, feel free. I love this image. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, it's a great image. It's a really nice one to start the stream. It's I mean, I'm always a big fan of 3D stuff, and I particularly like this one in that it's very simple in its design, but it's a very clean look, clean render, and it's, well, of course, it's using Lightwave, so that's a tick, isn't it? That's a good.
The sharpness.
It's very nice.
The sharpness is just unbelievable. It really is very sharp. And full disclosure, on some of these images, like this one was done at 1920 by 1080. What I do is I go into image effects and I bring it down to a resolution that my Amiga can handle without exploding. So this one's actually rendered at 1280 by 1024, which I think is a good compromise because it still looks fantastic. But the original images are going to be up on the website, amigaartwork.com, after the show's over, so you can look at the real images then. Fantastic. Now, let's move on to our next friend. And this is going to be Bertinetto Bartolomeu David. Why did I not name my child that? That is an absolutely awesome name. I wish I would have named Daniel that. If you're listening, Daniel, I'm going to change your name to Bartolomeu, or Bertinetto Bartolomeu David. His first one is called A Wall That Divides Us. I am really impressed with this, not only because it's a cool image, but because of its simplicity. I mean, it's you don't have to have 10,000 chrome spheres rendered or anything like that to make a good 3D image. Sometimes you can just do something simple, as long as that something simple has a message. Now let's read this in his own words. This is what he says about A Wall That Divides Us. Two people physically not so far away, but separated by a thick wall of silence, who surely think of each other, and a single word would be enough to shatter every barrier thus returning to be happy. A name never mentioned for years, not even once. I mean, if that's the emotion that's going behind the image, that adds points right there. That's absolutely fantastic. Your opinion on this one, Kevin?
Yes, this one caught our attention. One of the things I liked about this, because sometimes you look at things from the technical point of view of what software they've used or how they've created it, but every now and then you get some really interesting submissions that have a deep emotional connection. So this kind of caught our attention actually quite early on, and I like it too. You know, it's nice human forms, and there's space here, that huge thick wall. It's a pretty cool render actually, and it certainly looks very Amiga sort of. You know, you could imagine it being rendered back in the day, and it's pretty funky. Yeah.
Yep.
It's excellent work.
Absolutely. Now he did these in Lightwave 5.0 on an Amiga 1200 with a Blizzard 1240, which is the same accelerator I have. I love it. And it converted to JPEG with Artifact software on a ZZ9000 card. Those are sweet cards. I'm still half tempted to buy one. Render time was like 16 hours and 39 minutes on a real Amiga, so that's really cool. So, okay, well, let's move on to his next image. This one is called The Oceans, or The Ocean of Time. Let's bring that one up. This was made on the same machine, and in his own words, the interminable waiting for a precise moment in a person's life to arrive. So minutes, months, years pass in the stillness of an infinite ocean. Yeah, the images I create, I don't come up with cool things like that. I just say, "Oh, look, a butterfly, pretty." You know, that's what I do. That's a great description of the image, though. Kevin?
Yes, this is particularly interesting too, because it reminded me. I was a big fan of Salvador Dali, and you know, you see the big huge clock there in the background, and it's certainly a very surreal scene. And again, it's got that emotional connection like the previous render. It's a place you don't necessarily want to be in some ways. It's a pretty scary looking place. Like I find it fascinating having that huge clock there. It's very much dominant to the design.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Just a lovely image. All right,
yeah.
Let's move on to our next friend here. Now this one was sent to me almost accidentally. It's a guy on Twitter, and he posted a picture on his that he had taken, or that he had created on his Amiga years ago. And he knew nothing about the Amiga Art Contest. And I got in touch with him. His name is Ed Doyle. And I said, "Ed, man, you have to send that in for the contest." He says all he had was a JPEG of it, because he apparently didn't have the original image anymore that he created. I said, "That's fine, man. If you created it on an Amiga 20 years ago, that's a fun image. Send it in. I'd love it." And he told me that the writing up in the upper left-hand corner actually says something. It's in some kind of weird language, maybe Dremora or something like that. Who knows? But he says he can't remember what it says, but he thinks it's rated PG. He doesn't think it's too bad. So if anybody wants to translate it, take a crack at it. And this was one of our favorites from our patrons too. They really enjoyed this one. Your opinions on this one, Kevin?
Yes, this is pretty cool too, and you know, when you see renders on the Amiga back in the day too, I always think of the glass. I remember going through how long it takes to render bits of glass in 3D software, but this is certainly it certainly stood out in one of the 3D images, and it's great to have that submission too, knowing, you know, that it could have been lost forever, you know, an image like this. So to have it come to life in a competition or a stream like this is pretty cool.
It is, and he just randomly posted it on it, and I just happened to see it, so it was just pure luck. All right, so this next one, maybe, possibly once or twice, you guys have heard this guy's name before. Eric Schwartz. Maybe you've heard of him. Of course, he's been one of the most prolific Amiga artists since like forever, at least the late 80s. I've known of him. He's done Amy the Squirrel. He's done Super Frog, bunch of other artwork that he's done over the years and animations. And Eric Schwartz, what he did here was, this is a kind of a parody of Star Trek that he's working on, a comic that he's been working on. He created it in Lightwave 3D. The whole set was modeled by Eric, except for some borrowed detail elements. And he said some tech detailing on the walls are actually repurposed Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis consoles. So, you know, definitely check this image out on your, when you find it on my Amiga Artwork website, and see if you can find where he put those consoles in. I thought that was really, really cool. Your opinions on this one, Kevin?
Yeah, so it was actually quite a surprise because you imagine Eric's artworks. When they come in, you click on the folder and go, yeah, I know what I'm going to sort of expect, maybe, you know, but it sort of throws you out, and it's a nice surprise to sort of see some 3D rendering from Eric as well. So I thought this was a great submission. It's a nice render for sure.
Yep.
I like the. I mean, there's all sorts of. I mean, you can look at it from the technical point of view, or you know, it's a great render. It's a great.
And the little brown balls right in the center of the screen, those little round things. Every time I look at them, I think of the round ball on my trackball. This is a trackball I use in my Amiga 1200. It's a little wireless one. But yeah, every time I look at them, I think, okay, that looks like a trackball ball. And who knows, maybe it is.
It'll be interesting to see if Eric had plans of this being animated. Every time you see 3D renders, you imagine, you know, walking through the scene or some characters coming through. It's pretty cool. It lets your imagination go wild, you know.
Absolutely. Our next entrant is Ivan Dubesi. I think I got his name right. And he sent in an absolute plethora of images this year, which I'm just thrilled about. I picked just a few of them to show. And our first one is ADAV, which is a lovely image. I thought this was kind of cool here, and part of the reason I think it's cool is we have things like this flying over my house all the time. I'm literally half a mile from the Air Force Base here in Tucson, Davis-Monthan, and so we'll see planes, not exactly like this, but we'll see really, really cool planes flying over all the time, and it just reminds me of home. Your opinions on this one, if any?
Yes, another great render. It's a great scene. It's good textures. I'm trying to think. He submitted a few actually, and this is probably one of my favorites out of all of them, of course. But yeah, it's used in Lightwave, isn't it? I think so. Yeah. Was it Lightwave?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you sort of look at the textures because you know, as I use Lightwave as well, you can sort of see some of the surfacing textures. It's pretty nice.
Yep.
Makes me want to make a few more ships now.
I
wonder if I can use it in my next.
I need to get familiar with Lightwave. I really do.
I need to get that model from him to put in my next shoot 'em up.
Oh, I'm sure he'd be happy to. This one I think is fun because at first glance, okay, it's an F1 car. No, it's a Lego car. You can see the actual Lego blocks in there, and it's just cute, just really cute. I really enjoyed this one too. Your opinion?
Yeah, pretty cool. It's nice, you know, because even today, this is obviously like a low poly looking object, and it's very much in flavour today, these sort of things. So it's a pretty cool image for sure. Just want to see that put into. See, I'm always looking at these things, thinking that we can put that into another game somewhere.
Oh, sure.
We'll have a racing game with that.
Absolutely.
Very
now,
cool.
This next one was a patron favorite. We got a lot of people who said they really enjoyed this, and I do too. Not just because it has saguaro cactuses, which are native to my town here, but the chrome is a very, very Amiga-like effect because people used to love playing with reflections in the 3D software, and this does a really, really good job of that. So I thought this was a really, really nice rendering. Your opinion?
Sure, definitely. It's nice seeing a whole scene like this. You know, you got the background as well, and I can see the crumpled texture surface effect that you can use in Lightwave and other things. But the chrome was the most obvious standout for me. It's always pretty cool using chrome and on and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I really enjoyed this image. Looks fantastic on an Amiga 1200 too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And lastly, for our friend Ivan, we've got this neat underwater picture that has some really, really great, fun ripple effects. Some people might say too many ripple effects, but yeah, can you ever have too many ripple effects? I don't know. Your opinion?
I think it's. Oh, that's right. The YouTube's delayed, but I can. I remember this one. Yes, the blue sort of underwater ocean of the yellow submarine lens flares. Pretty cool. I like it a lot, and it doesn't have to be overly complicated. These submissions too, which I mean, it's got its own complexity there with the lighting effects and the refractions. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very clever, very simple but very clever render.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I like the fish in the background for sure.
Yeah, the fish are kind of cool there. So, yeah. All right, moving on to our next friend. This is from John Beeden. Now, John is unique in his contributions. It seems like most of the contributions for the 3D have been using probably Ham 8 or maybe 256 color mode on the Amiga AGA machines, but he's actually using 4096 color Ham mode, which is really cool, and sometimes we forget just what a cool mode that is. So let's look at a few of these, and then we'll talk about them in general. These are all from 2010 A Space Oddity. I'm sorry. Space Odyssey. Wrong one. So these are all from 2010 A Space Odyssey, which reminds me I need to watch that film again. But you can see that these are done in Ham 6 because of the really unique kind of dithering and just a little bit of fringing, but not much. But the colors that come up are really, really beautiful even in Ham 6. So if you've got anything to say about any of these in particular, Kevin, just shout out. But I'm just going to go through them quickly here.
Yeah, sure. Flick through them. There's a few coming through, isn't there? But you mentioned these in Babylon 5 TV show or Star Trek. They could easily sit in, some of those classic TV shows for sure. Mm-hmm. Nice rendering, nice models.
Absolutely. Now let's go on to his final one here, which is the Leonov, which I really like. I thought this one came out really good. Let me just make this. I think that's a really neat image, even in 4096 colors. So, yep, those are beautiful. Yeah. Now, our good friend Kevin Quattro, also known as Q, but not that Q, not the crazy Q. He's the normal Q. Kevin sent a couple of images in. This one is really cool because on his channel, which is called Hold and Modify, which is the most poorly produced, underproduced Amiga channel in existence. And those are his words, not mine. That's his tagline. And none of it's true. He does wonderful work. But he did an actual video creating this step by step. So I encourage you to look up his Hold and Modify website, and you can watch from beginning to end how he created this image. You have an opinion on this one?
It's a great image. It's a very clean image too. I think he also used some other software to render out the Ham 8. Was there was some other technique that he used, but it's a beautiful rendering. And of course, like I said, Doug said, go to his website for sure. It's great. Mm-hmm. Hold and Modify.
Yep, and he's a great guy too. Really enjoyable character. This one, I actually named this Tron AAC or Tron. I don't know if it was based on Tron, but in my head it looked like it was a Tron type image. And he says, "Yep, good enough." So I thought this was a cool one. He did this one many, many years ago, if I understand correctly. He did this one back in the 90s, maybe, one of his old ones. And this one's also in Ham 6 mode. But I think it's neat. It certainly does remind me of our first one from Anthony Jarvis. Go ahead if you have anything to say about this one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I always love seeing all these artifacts of Ham 8 images. You know, even if it corrupts the actual rendering in some way because of the Ham fringing, it adds the attraction to it in some ways. It's almost like it adds all this extra detail that you don't expect. You know, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I think
And that's in Ham 6, by the way, isn't it? I think,
that's
yeah.
in Ham 6, yep.
Yep.
Now, Mark Rifkin, maybe, possibly, somebody will recognize this 3D image that he created. This was actually created for, let's see, I think in 1993, he was creating something for the release of the Amiga 1200 for some trade show. Trade shows and presentations while he worked at Commodore, which is actually cool. So he did this in Lightwave in 1993, and then he redid it apparently for the art contest, which is really, really, really cool. So he redid this one, and I just think a CBM spaceship is just the coolest thing on the planet, or on both of those planets there. You have an opinion on this one?
Yeah, pretty cool. You do imagine yourself flying on this spaceship, and maybe we can get I shouldn't mention his name, but that rich fella who can send people to space, maybe he needs to build this one next.
Yeah, he's doing such a great job with Twitter. Yeah, let's have him take a
yeah. Let's not
swing at
mention
this
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic rendering, and sorry, Doug, and I love the seeing the pictures of it on the machine. You know, you see it on Lightwave, you see the wireframe, the work in progress sort of images. That always really helps when you see submissions to go, oh, that's so cool. It gives you a bit more context. You can imagine, you know, sitting down and building this scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And he created that image again from memory and from a color picture that he had of the actual ship. And then he just recreated it recently in Lightwave. I thought that was cool. This is a sample of some of the other stuff he did back in '93. Some of the prototypes of stuff that he did, which was pretty cool. I think that's pretty neat. 1993, New York City World of Commodore show, and I think World of Commodore is still in existence. I think that's going on in Canada now. So, yep. Oh, Toasterine. That's hilarious. So, yeah, that's a fun image.
It's pretty cool because again, these are the sort of image that you don't always see. You don't see them online, because I don't know about you, Doug, but I try and find every single image created on the Amiga in some way, and I'm still trying to search for more, of course. And when you see moments like this, you go, wow, so somebody's made some, you know, banners or made some posters using the Amiga. It's pretty exciting. I like it.
Yep, absolutely. And Roar's asking if the hand-drawn is the last category. And no, Roar, this year it is the third category, I believe, that we're going to be doing. But
thanks, Doug. I did see that, Roar. Thank you.
Yeah. But now we're going to be talking about the winners in the 3D category. And as I mentioned, this year it's going to be runner-up, third place, second place winner, and first place winners in each category. And then, of course, we'll have an overall best of show. But in our 3D category this year, the runner-up is this awesome image of the old truck. A lot of people, a lot of the patrons really thought this truck was cool, and Kevin and I really loved it too. So this is our third place runner-up, and he will be receiving a cool printout of this from my beautiful printer, an 8x10, and a nice certificate for this one. If you have anything else to say about any of these winners, Kevin, feel free.
Sure, it's a great submission, and like you said, Doug, it was very popular with the patrons, and it made our job slightly easier because it's incredibly hard trying to choose which
yes, it is.
Where everybody sits. So well deserved, third place for sure.
But and understand how difficult it is, because all of the images are absolutely incredibly gorgeous, and we love them all. They all have their own charm, but we've just got to narrow it down, and it is so hard sometimes. It's so hard. So Our second place winner, let's get up here. This is The Wall That Divides. This was also very popular with our patrons, and this was very popular with both Kevin and I. We both really liked this. We really liked the story behind it, the simplicity, and just the feeling that it gives to you. So I think this is a well-deserved second place winner.
Yeah, we definitely agree there. It's a very good art submission for this year's 3D category for sure. I mean, I really like this one in that it's got a lot of emotional context to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very nice. Mm.
And of course,
and the patrons voted too for that. Yeah,
yep.
For sure.
And of course, there has to be a first place winner. And I will tell you that our patrons absolutely loved this one. They loved Imp in a Bottle as much as Kevin and I enjoyed this one. I want to see more work from Ed Doyle. I want to see some of his other creations that he's done, because if they're on this level, he needs to get another Amiga, and he needs to get back into 3D imaging and Lightwave. This is our first place winner. Pretty cool, huh?
Well deserved. The patrons certainly made sure that this was the highest rated ones, and I really love this one too. It's a great rendering.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well deserved.
So let's move into our next category. So moving right along, we're going to head into animations. Now, full disclosure, some of the animations are going to play back on my Amiga 1200. Some of the animations choke the Amiga 1200, and even at 68040 can't run it. And that is perfectly legitimate. This even back in the 80s, the late 80s, when people were creating animations on their Amigas, oftentimes they would create a series of still images and dump those still images to tape one frame at a time, and that's how you did it, because the hardware wasn't there to do it. So it's perfectly legitimate to do it that way. Perfectly legitimate to create the animation on the Amiga and then bring it over to a PC or WinUAE to play it back at the speed you want to. I'm all for that, and that's absolutely fine. Our first animation. Now, just so you know, these animations that play back on the PC, these were converted with FFmpeg into MP3 files in some cases, and in other cases they were converted with, let's see, Midwan. Midwan is the guy who does Amy Berry, which is used in PiMega, which is used in the A500 Mini, and is the Linux version of the UAE, Universal Amiga Emulator software. He's got this cool tool called Anim Player for the PC and the Mac that allows you to play back animations, the Anim files, and now allows you to save those Anim files as GIF files, which is really cool. So on to the actual animation. This is from our friend Adrian Montero, who submitted a drink with Van Gogh. Let's just find a drink with Van Gogh. Holy guacamole. Where did it go? Hey, do me a favor, Kevin, and entertain the troops again and talk about animation software, where I find out why this disappeared.
Sure. I was just looking at the list of the animations category there, and there's quite a few submissions, and it was actually probably, I found it probably the most difficult section to be judging, because you see the enormous amount of effort that's been put into some of these, as with other submissions, but this particular one was probably our hardest group to judge, but thankfully we had some help with other people judging with us, so made it a bit easier.
So this is a drink with Van Gogh, and you can probably see why it doesn't play back on an Amiga very well. This is all in Ham 8, high resolution, really, really unbelievable. I mean, look at some of the reflections, the shadows that he's done, the transparent boing ball on the wall. There it is right there. Just the absolute unbelievable amount of work that went into this particular animation. Really, really impressed with it.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, it would have taken so long to render. I think back in the day, I kind of gave up trying to render too much, but because of that time intensiveness of doing glass and transparency. But it's a great scene.
Yep. He did this
very nice
in WinUAE with Real 3D 1.4. So yeah, he definitely did not use Amiga hardware to do it because it would take 1,000 years to render this. Cool. Let's move on to our next one here. Now this is my contribution to animation. I am not an animator. I have never been an animator, but I wanted to have a little bit of fun. So a lot of you guys know Tristabytes channel, Bex from Tristabytes. And Kevin, I think you specifically know her because she did voiceover work in Iridium. She was the computer, I believe. And
yeah,
she's a wonderful streamer. She's just a delightful person. You should all follow her on Twitch, follow her on YouTube. On Twitter, about 3 months ago, she put up this picture of her morphing into Red Fraggle from Fraggle Rock. If you know her show, you know she always calls herself a Muppet and says she has a Muppet face. That's just her thing. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, can I take these images that you put up and do something fun on the Amiga with it? She says, oh, sure. So this is the original image that she showed. And now let's take a look at the Morph Plus animation. Now, Morph Plus is cool. It was one of the first morphing programs for any reasonably priced computer where you'd morph from one thing into another. And you remember back in the early 90s, everybody was morphing, and it looked horrible on a lot of TV shows and movies and things like that. But a lot of them were morphing using the Morph Plus software. So let's take a look at good old Trista here, morphing into Red Fraggle using Morph Plus. It took a couple of hours to create it because you have to set each particular point, like to line up her eyes and Red Fraggle's eyes and the mouth and the hair. Everything has to be lined up specifically so the software knows how to do the morphing. And I thought it turned out really cool, and I'm really glad that Bex liked it.
Yeah, very cool, Doug. It's nice to submit, for both of us to submit things into the competition for a bit of fun, and that's very cool. She loved it, of course, and I actually want to try the software out now that you've inspired me to have a bit of a go with the morphing software.
It's wonderful. Morph Plus is really cool software. It really works on the art department professional technology and includes kind of a limited version of art department professional that's used to do all this processing. It's really cool. I'm going to do a show on it in a few weeks.
Awesome.
This one is Goblin Island from Dan Rolfe, and he promised me that any similarity with any little short goblin-like creature that eats frog eggs from a show like, say, The Mandalorian is completely 100% coincidental. There's no relationship at all. What do you think about it, Kevin?
It's playing now, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I quite like the cute sort of pixel art eating the eggs. That's pretty awesome, and I like it. Nice fun render for sure.
Yep. No, I like that one too. Okay. Now, there's a gentleman who goes by the name of Fastman or Fastman Call, who created a game called let's see, what do we have here? Death Metal 3. That's it. Death Metal 3 on the Amiga, and you can download it from AmiNet, and it's apparently a pretty big game as far as needing a powerful Amiga to run. But this is just a little bit of Death Metal 3. He sent that in as an animation. And yeah, I can see why you'd need a pretty powerful Amiga to do all that. I think you'd need at least an 030. But yeah, he had fun. This one is actually shot right from his screen, which is why it blurs in and out a little bit. I wish you would have sent me the original, but that's okay. It's still cool.
Yeah, pretty cool effect. I quite like this. Sorry, Doug, I get about a 5 or 10 second delay, so I'm just waiting for it to come up on screen before I reply. But this is pretty funky. I'll have to look into the more details of it. It looks like it's the color cycling through the image, and then the background's like a color cycling effect, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, it's true, Kevin. You can't see the animations and things like that in real time because you're looking at the delay. I wonder if I share my screen with you, if that's going to slow things down. You think we should try that so you can see them?
Oh no, oh no, it's okay,
Okay.
Doug. It's okay. Just allow for a few seconds for me to just see it come up on screen. That's
Of
all. It's all
course.
good.
Now,
Yeah.
this next one is a real treat. My friend H. Baraldo. Last year, you guys know him from the Pink Panther animation that he created. That is absolutely adorable. I love his Pink Panther, where him and the dude in white are painting a post, and each of them are going around the post, and they're each painting it a different color. Just absolutely wonderful. Well, starting maybe not even quite a year ago, H started recreating the Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp intro on the Amiga, and then putting it together as an animation. And I want you guys to enjoy that animation right now. Let's bring Time Warp right up.
Dragon's Lair, Time Warp.
Kidnapped? Oh, Daddy! Idiot!
Spirited away to a wrinkle in time by the evil wizard Mordroc, Daphne will be forced to marry the wicked Mordroc unless Dirk can save her.
My Daphne kidnapped? Mommy's gone.
Transported by a bumbling old time machine, Dirk begins the rescue mission.
Mine!
Do it for the children. Once the casket of doom has opened, Mordroc will place the death ring upon Daphne's finger in marriage, and she will be lost forever in the Time Warp.
That is pretty darn amazing. Let's get Kevin back up here. That is an impressive animation there. Now, oh, have we lost Kevin? Oh, I'm looking for your video. Yes, I turned your video off. There you go. Your video's on. So the file that plays back with synchronized sound, and he synchronized it on the PC. The actual animation plays beautifully on my Amiga 1200, but if I want to play it back with the sound included, synced up, I'm playing it back on the PC. But the animation plays beautiful. And this was obviously a big hit with the patrons and a big hit with Kevin and I. What do you think about it, Kevin?
Oh, I mean, I really love this one. I remember seeing the submissions through through the months of it being created, and getting excited to see the next update. So this was quite a task to build.
Yep, absolutely. Me too. That was such a favorite of so many people, and I can't believe the amount of work that went into that. Yeah, I know it was a ton of work. Now, this one is from a new friend named John Bintz, and let me tell you what John Bintz said about his little animation here. Let's go ahead and get it started. There we go. Hey, there he is. Hello, my name is John Bintz, and I'm submitting the short animation he made it in Disney Presents The Animation Studio on an emulated Amiga 1200 using FSUAE on Linux. He used a tool called Weylus, W-E-Y-L-U-S, to let him use his Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 as a tablet device with the emulator so he could draw more naturally, and I think that's really cool. And his goal was to see how he could figure out how the old software works and compare it to tools that he uses now, modern tools like Krita. It's the first animation software he'd used on his Amiga 500, and he created this over the course of 5 Twitch streams, which is kind of cool. And he's also got a channel called The Industrious Rabbit, and I believe he's right there in the chat, so please Oh, Kevin went away. Bye, Kevin. Yeah, the rabbit took you. Yeah, if Industrious Rabbit is still in the stream, go ahead and put your link up. And then Daniel, if it tries to block his link, go ahead and allow it. But he's got a YouTube channel that goes over the creation of this animation too. So I think this is great, and I think he needs to stay working on the Amiga stuff because he's doing a great job. Any opinions on that one, Kevin?
Well, the first thing that came to mind was who killed Roger Rabbit. Somebody said in the stream who killed Kevy, but this animation it's pretty cool. It makes you want to do animations like it. You know, it's and like you said last year, the submission of the Pink Panther was a beautiful animation, and no doubt that this is the same. There's little details, you know, the little character on the T-shirt too. You sort of want to know who that little character is as well.
Yep. I want to see more work from John for sure. Absolutely. And everyone go subscribe to his channel after the show's over. All right. Now,
good to be back.
This next one is from the immensely talented Jojo073. He does a ton of work. He's got a Facebook presence, a Twitter presence, and he's the guy that does these incredibly detailed 320 by 200, 16 color, 32 color images, and he's also doing some animations, and this animation will just impress the daylights out of you. Whoops, if I can click the right one. Tugurio is what this is called. We'll give it a minute to charge up here. Absolutely love this one.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Look at this. This has got the like an anime type look to it and an anime type feel. Love Tugurio. I want to see more animations from our friend Jojo. What's your opinion there, Kevin?
Yeah, it's an excellent animation submission, and of course, as you said, the amount of art that gets posted from this artist is just stunning. Like there's, you know, I think every week or so I see a new one. It's amazing how much Amiga pixel work he does.
It really is,
and you love it. Love every piece. In fact, I remember seeing so many of them. I was surprised that he didn't submit all of them. He had so many.
I wish he would, and I bother him about it too. Jojo, if you're on the stream, you know that I bother you and say you need to submit that. You need to submit that. He does a great job. I mean, he's a great guy too. I did an interview with him for a magazine a couple months ago. He interviewed me.
I think he's sorry, Doug. I think he loves using the 16 color palette, which is pretty cool setup. So OCS, I think. Awesome.
Now this next animation, this is from our friend Mark Rifkin. Mike, I'm sorry, Mark. This is Mark Rifkin, and he has animated the CBM spaceship that we were all looking at and enjoying a few minutes ago. So let me turn off the Amiga and not turn off Kevin this time. And we're going to take a look at CBM ship. Look at that. That is so cool. These are the voyages of the starship CBM. That's really neat. What's your opinion of that one, Kevin?
It should come up in a few seconds. It's all right.
It's the spaceship flying through the CBM spaceship.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Yeah, and so that was really nice to see the animation version of this. So there you go. My dreams come true of seeing the Star Trek type Babylon 5 TV show come alive. And we'll get some funds together and make this happen.
Absolutely. I think that's a
lot of fun.
Brilliant. And I think Mark did a great job. And I think we need to see more animations of this ship. That would be just so cool. Now, our last one here has a story behind it in that it's actually made on an Amiga 4000. And he created it with, this is from Philippe Duhamel, and he created it using Lightwave 5 for the 3D parts, for the modeling and setting up the scenes. Then he transferred the scenes and the models over to his Core i5 PC under WinUAE for rendering, which is absolutely fine to do because, you know, you set up just-in-time processing in WinUAE, and it will render these 3 images slightly faster than an Amiga 4000. And then he reconstructed the animation with main actor software on the PC. And so here's just a couple images of him creating it on the Amiga 4000, and I absolutely love the Papa Smurf on there. That's really cool. And let's see, we've got a couple of other images of him generating it. And I just want you to see that he actually used real Amigas and virtual Amigas and PCs to create all this. And he was kind enough to show how he did it. So now let's watch the animation and hold on to your proverbial seats, because this is awesome.
Mon nom est Click, Docteur Click.
So, who wants to see more animations from him? That was impressive. That I think I probably watched that about 50 or 60 times, and I still, from memory, could not point out all of the references that he put in there. The Mario and the Pong and the Space Invaders and that Back to the Future. Wow. That was an impressive animation. That knocked my socks off, truly. Your opinions on that one, Kevin?
Yeah, it's a stunning animation. Like you said, Doug, I just love replaying it all the time. I just didn't want to stop it. You know, the funky music that goes along with it as well, and all those nostalgia games coming through, and you know, Pac-Man and Rubik's Cube and all that. You know, 80s, 90s sort of nostalgia. Definitely, it's a fantastic animation.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And it seems like the people in the chat really like that too. So yeah, and this will be available to look at right on my website, amigaartwork.com, soon after the show. It's behind a password right now, but I'll unlock it after the show's over, and you guys can watch it on repeat like Kevin and I do. Really an impressive animation. So that brings us back to the winners of the animation category. So now I'm not going to replay all the animations unless you guys really want me to, because they can get a little bit long. But the first winner, the third place runner-up, is our good friend Mark Rifkin. See, I got your name right this time, with his CBM ship animation. This got a lot of love from our patrons, and I think it got a few extra points just because it tugs on the old heartstrings with the CBM logo there. So congratulations on your third place win on there. That's awesome. And our second place winner is the absolutely awesome Tugurio from Jojo073. So Jojo will be getting our nice $25 gift certificate from our friend Frank at Retro Rewind, whose shirt I'm wearing now. Kind of like Superman, huh? Ta-da! But yeah, this I think is well worth winning a prize in the contest. And believe me, the animation category was difficult to choose winners in because they're all just so mind-numbingly beautiful. Just really, really good. Any opinions on what we commented on there so far, Kevin?
Yeah, I think this was one of the hardest categories I think I mentioned before, and it didn't make it a little bit easier, of course, having the patrons also decide. But I think this category probably was the closest race out of all people who have entered into this category. So it's probably just a minute half a point, sometimes with some of these decisions, but they all deserve their credits, and we haven't seen the other places yet, but they're amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And our first place winner in the animation category is the absolutely incredible JPP that we just watched from Philippe Duhamel. And I won't play the whole thing because it's so long, but let's just take another look there just in case you forget what it is. This deserves a first place win. This is just incredible, just fantastic. So I hope you all agree with our choices of the first, second, and third place winners. But in the meantime, let's move on to our next category.
Yeah, it's how exciting to see. And like I said, once the stream's finished, these will be live for people to check out again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now to our most prolific category, which is the hand-drawn category. Everybody knows Deluxe Paint. Most people know Personal Paint, Photon Paint, DigiPaint. There were so many painting packages, and I wonder what Kevin's favorite painting package is.
Oh.
That would be Brilliance, by the way, which is an absolutely fantastic package. And
I thought you were not going to mention it on purpose, and I was just going to post in the stream. There's no way you're going to get away with that, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, so many people did such a wonderful job in the hand-drawn category. Now, our first year, 2019, of Amiga Art Contest, we had 35 entrants into the hand-drawn category, which I thought, geez, 35 people interested in my art contest? This year, 85 entrants into the hand-drawn category, 85 individual images. Now, I'm not going to show them all today because a couple people would send 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people sent like 15, and that's cool. Send as many as you want to. I just picked out some of the best represented ones to share with everybody. And our first one is from Carlo Biodini, which I believe our friend Carlo is in chat, and I just want to tell him that this is one of the coolest images that I have seen. This is apparently this is 1081 head in the glitchy CGA swamp. That is so cool. I love the feeling behind it. I love the color choices. I love the dithering. Man, everything about this I love. Inspired by an unknown graffiti artist piece. What's your opinion, Kevin?
Yeah, it's a very creative piece. It's I really like this piece. It's the security camera on that bird there, and it's got so many cool designs about this one. Mm-hmm. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep, this is
great
coloring. Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is just fantastic.
Love the glitch.
Our next one is from Citizen. If you don't follow Citizen on Twitter and Facebook and their YouTube channel, you guys need to. Citizen, they make the funniest videos. They have the sentient computers, Commodore 64s, Ataris, TRS-80s, and PCs, and they create these entire adventures around these entire group of sentient computers and characters. And I mean, if this doesn't win Best Picture in the known universe, I don't know what else would. And they're convinced they're going to win Best Picture in the entire known universe. So my friends at Citizen know how to have fun. Any opinions on that one, Kevin?
Well, I mean, I love all the art submissions because, you know, some people enter them and they just love goofing around and doing all these crazy designs. So it's that's what it's all about too. You know,
Yep.
It's pretty funny.
If you want crazy, follow Citizen. They're nuts, but I love them. They're fantastic. Now, these next submissions, these are so absolutely adorable. Apparently, a young lady named Ella, 9 years old, went to a swag meeting, I believe, and at the swag meeting, she noticed people creating artwork, and so she wanted to create some herself. So she got a graphics tablet attached to her father's Amiga, and she started creating some art in Deluxe Paint 5. And the first one here is Dumbo, of course, which is absolutely adorable. Again, 9 years old, a new Amiga user. The next one is good old Mickey Mouse. Oh, we're about to get taken down by Disney, aren't we? Oh, geez, here come the copyright claims. Just absolutely fantastic work. Fantastic. And I'm sure she was, I don't know if she was, I'm sure she had an image and she was just copying it by hand. But the quality of the work that this girl can do is just incredible. And this next one, is one of my favorite images. She just did such a great job. This one is called Ella's Love Hearts, and I think it is just a really, really, really neat image. I love the colors. I love you can see that she used the different pressures on the drawing tablet to get different thicknesses of lines. And what do you feel about this series of pictures?
Yeah, great. Like you said, Doug, Ella is 9 years old, and it's always really nice to see new Amigans come to the scene. And I agree with the Mickey Mouse one. That's probably my favourite too. But the other one too, the heart, you know, that it's got a very painterly sort of feel about it. And that's part of the art contest, is you want all these fun, creative designs come in, and I think she's the youngest entrant into.
She is.
Prize. Fantastic.
Yep. No.
And it reminds me we should all get our kids to use more Amigas.
Yeah, my son actually loves the Amiga. He and I play games on it. He was telling me he wanted to try and do something for the art contest this year, but we never got around to it for him. And Ella's father wanted me to shout out to Mixel, our good friend Michael, who is also the creator of the Creeping Me Out video game, which will be finished sometime between 2022 and I think he said 2392. Sometime in that range he'll finish his game. But Mixel really helped him out with getting the drivers working for his graphics tablet. So that's cool.
Good on you, Mixel.
Yep. Oh, he's a great guy. I wish he would have had time to submit something this year. I just love his artwork.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got a great Twitch channel that he does some work on too. This next one is from David Bruntel, and it's a striking image of a warrior. And being that it is known that it is international law that hot female warriors have to wear skin-tight leather armor, I think this just literally ticks off every checkbox. What's your opinion on Warrior here, Kevin?
Yeah, very nice pixel work there. You can see there's a lot of good shading. In fact, while you're showing that there, I'm clicking on each of them and zooming into the details as I look at them as well here. It's a beautiful drawing.
Yep.
Great submission.
I think he did a fantastic job on this. And I think I seem to recall him saying he has a bunch of other work, and I hope he submits more of it next year. That would be awesome. Now,
yeah, for sure. That'd be great.
Once again, we get to this well-known figure named Eric Schwartz. We all know and love Eric. and he created this one back in, I think he said 92 or 93. Yeah, 1992. It's a heavily expanded Amiga 500. And yes, I would say it's a heavily expanded one. And he thinks it was from originally a scanned drawing and then colored using deluxe paint. So Eric did a wonderful job on that one, as he does a wonderful job on everything.
Yeah, for sure. And this is, very much of an Eric sort of feel to it, isn't it? It's got that great cartoon drawing, and he adds all these quirky elements to his designs. Always enjoy seeing Eric's stuff.
Yep. The next one from Eric is NFT Monkey. And I think most of you know the story about how Seth created this NFT monkey and it got out of hand. And everyone and their brother started creating things based on this monkey to show how silly it was to try and deal with NFTs. So Eric says that this NFT monkey that he created in personal paint, he's offering it up for sale for $500,000, but with the NFT market going downhill, he'll gladly take $100,000 for this image if anybody wants to, cut him a check or give him their Visa card. What's your opinion on NFT Monkey in general, and then Eric's NFT Monkey, Kevin?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It shows Eric's sense of humor for sure, and good business idea, selling some NFTs, I guess. But I love the T-shirt for sure. I wouldn't mind that T-shirt.
Oh, I would wear that T-shirt in a heartbeat, and the jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got the Amiga check mark on it and everything. It's got a little pin with the Amiga check mark. So I think NFT Monkey is just absolutely cool.
A lot of fun. Yeah. Good stuff.
Now this next one is from a hypothetical. It's a title card for a hypothetical short cartoon called Kitty Cooper, and it's scanned line artwork that he colored and toned in Personal Paint 7 and Photogenics 5, with the text and titles added using PageStream, and effects and antiquing done in Image Effects and AdPro. So let's see, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 different programs he used to create Kitty Cooper, which I think is really, really awesome. This is a 1280 by 1024 image, and this image literally knocks my socks off. Just knocks my socks off, the detail that he did. And it's all on the Amiga. Your opinions, Kevin?
Yeah, I really love this submission. It's like you said, the different tools that he used. It's something that I'll sort of take away from it and go, I thought that's a great idea. I should try Photogenics, or I should try these techniques using PageStream and blending other software into the tools. But it's a great fun submission from Eric, and we love this. It's pretty cool. I just want to see the animation now.
Oh, I do. I want to see the whole Kitty Cooper show. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's line art that he hand drew and then scanned in.
Yeah.
Don't forget, that's a perfectly legitimate way to do art on the Amiga or art on any platform. Taking what you've drawn, if you're a hand drawer, bringing it in, and then updating it, modifying it, colorizing it. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't break any rules. And using multiple tools, Kevin, I'm sure when you create a graphics for the game, you probably use a couple of different tools and a couple of different methods. You're not always using the same tools, are you?
No, we use lots of tools, and I was just thinking of the Kitty Cooper there with the text, for example. I know if I'm using Brilliance or DPaint, that doesn't always come with a lot of fonts, and so that's one of the creative ways of just opening PageStream. That's usually got a bunch of fonts already installed with it, that you can use. It's a clever submission for sure. I
would love to have seen a video of him creating this, how he used all those tools together. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. So
yeah, that'd be great to see.
Kitty Cooper was very popular with everybody. Next up, our friend Fastman, who has the Death Watch video game. He submitted a couple of of hand-drawn images. He submitted an actual plethora of hand-drawn images, but I only have a couple of them here I want to show you. Let's look at his motorcycle. These are all from his game. So you can download his game, I think Deathwatch 3 from AmiNet. And he's got a very unique drawing style. He's got some cool stuff going on there. And then one of his very colorful images here with I think this one's got a tank in it. Yep, there's a tank in it. And I just thought that was kind of cool, the way he's taking those digitized photographic images and just doing something fun with them. You have any opinions or anything to say on these images?
Yeah, it's nice to see there was a lot to look through as well for this artist Fastman. So I actually really quite like some of these psychedelic looking images that he's got in this game there. I'm really going to check that out. I'm really curious to see how it's all pieced together, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I like the idea of using photos and then obviously cutting them into graphics into the game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Our next friend here is Gordian Newman. He sent in some real beauties, and these are all low-res 320 by 200 images in either 16 or 32 colors. And I suspect you guys may just like these just a little bit. Look at that. Look at that detail. 320 by 200. Look at that detail. This one is Inner Portal is what this one is called. Oops. Just absolutely gorgeous. And I'll go through these, Kevin, and then we can talk about them.
Sure.
And then next one is Lost in Digitality. I love his titles, too. The titles he comes up for these are just incredible. Look at that. You can see her, apparently her face and her brain dripping off the screen. Lovely. Now we've got Mother with Life Comes Death, which is an interesting name. But my goodness, this image. Look at the detail. 320 by 200. Hand-drawn images. Just fantastic. And then, okay. And then his last one, Reconnected by Remote, is the next images. And this one's got a real, almost an alien vibe. Something very specific about the way that that creature looks to her right. Just absolutely astounding. Okay, Kevin, what's your opinion on these? Because I know you rather enjoyed these too.
Yes, for sure. And that particular image that you were showing before, which one is it? The Reconnect. There was quite a few. What I'd like to is seeing the steps of how it was built. So you got the luxury of just seeing how, you got the flat color and then the texture being built up, and then you modify and you can see some of the changes. I know in this particular design that at the bottom of the lady's back there's some different designs in the earlier visual creation. So it was pretty cool to see that morphing of thinking, through the process. So I really enjoyed looking through all of these. Beautiful pixel work. Yeah.
Maybe I should put up those intermediate images up on the website so people can see that, like, the starting points he went through and how he created the images. I bet people would be interested in that.
It gives you some good insight, because this particular one was grayscale to start with, and then you see the next image, you start to see how the artist starts piecing together the colors, how you can kind of get the matching, because I think it's a palette of 16 colors, so blending from one hue to another. It gives you, it's probably well worth putting the steps in for this one.
Yeah, and if we don't put it on the website, let's put them in Amiga artwork on Facebook, so people can look on Facebook and see the steps that he took. So we'll do it on one of the two.
Yeah.
But I was Gordian's stuff. I don't know if Gordian's in the chat, but if he is, wow, just wow, really nice stuff. I want one of these as the background image of one of my Amigas, I think. So, speaking of background images, this is a background image that Rod March created last year on my Amiga 1200. Absolutely love it, and the color schemes that he used work perfectly with my 16-color workbench. And yep. So next up, let's look at our old friend Helgi Kvalheim. And some of you have heard of Helgi. He creates some good music on his Amiga 5000, his X5000. And recently, he's been in the mood to just have fun in creating Last Ninja 4, which never existed, but he's gone and he's created some artwork and some screens and some music for this never created game called Last Ninja 4, just doing it purely out of fun. And this is some of the first times that he's ever busted out on a painting program. And I think for just starting out doing painting, this is one colorful submission here, and really cool gradations and everything. Any opinions on Last Ninja 4 picture there, Kevin?
Yeah, it was a nice surprise to see Helg is how you pronounce his name. It was really nice to see that he submitted art because I know him very well through his music, and you know, I enjoy listening to the tracks that he creates, and to now come up with some of the visual images like this. And I think he said P-Paint he used in this, so makes you want to look at checking out the software again, because it's I think he's using his Amiga OS 4 or something,
his X5000
PPC machine. Yeah, X5000. Yeah, so you know, nice high resolution image, and looks like he had a lot of fun making it. That's for sure. There's a lot of time involved, and he's had a heap of fun making it by the looks.
Yep. Now, Helgi's song Mushroom was the intro song to my channel for about the first year of my channel, before I started using some of Mike Richmond's music. So I've known Helgi a long time. Our next friend here, this is an image called Morsi that was created by Imre Sovny. Now this is one, let me make sure I get the right image here. There we go. This was put on the Amiga Artwork Facebook page last year, just after Amiga Art Contest 2021 closed down. And I got in touch with him. I said, dude, this is gorgeous. I wish you would have had this ready for Amiga Art Contest. He didn't even know what Amiga Art Contest was, I don't believe. But so he submitted this one November of last year. Absolutely breathtaking 32 color image. Now the story on it, the original image was created on a PC, but he wanted to see what he could do with it on an Amiga in 32 colors. So this is what he did on the Amiga. And just for laughs, let me show you the PC version of it. Oh, I've got that in the wrong program. I've got that opening in multi-view. All right. Now here's the original, which is absolutely stunning on a PC. I mean, it's absolutely a beautiful image on the PC. But in my humble opinion, it doesn't look nearly as good as the Amiga version. What's your opinion on this one, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree too. I think the Amiga version outshines the original. Beautiful colors. I think the colors are even nicer, and there's a beautiful warmth to the design. It's a very nice piece, actually. Very nice. Only 32 colors. It's quite impressive, to be honest.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry, just sending a message to my good buddy Chris Toast, who just dropped in. And Chris Toast is the reason, also called Chris Toast, Mr. Toast, whose name is Chris, is the reason that my keyboard on my Amiga 1200 is working as well as it is, because he just replaced the keyboard connector at Amy West about 3 weeks ago. So welcome to the show, Mr. Toast. It's a pleasure to have you here. All right, now let's see. Ivan, let's see what we got next. Ivan Dubesi contributed about a cajillion images to the Amiga Art Contest this year. Look, if you look on my Amiga 1200 screen up here, these are the ones that he contributed, and he did an incredible job on every single one of them. But Kevin and I decided we just don't have the time to show all of them, so we picked a few to point out. But all of them will be available on the Amiga Artwork website. And I got a text from my son. And my son, thank you, Daniel, for coming to the stream. I understand you have to go help your mother. Thank you, son. So let's look at a few of these that he created. This one is an Addams Family one. Just a really cool, fun, it's got that hand-drawn look, but still is an absolutely phenomenal image. Love this one. Let's look at his next one here. This one is called Angel Moon, and both Kevin and I agreed that this is just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful image. Really liked this one. He had 3 different variations of Angel Moon. This is the one I personally like the best. Love the details in the clouds. Love the details on her wings, the fire. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a great piece, this one, and there was a lot to choose from as well. But this certainly outshined all the others, I reckon.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, as well as the Adams family was a pretty cool design as well.
The next one is Apache DPV, which I just thought was a neat image. On the propellers of the rotors of the helicopter, he's got them blurred in such a way that gives you both the illusion of a little bit of motion and also maybe heat emanating from them, just a certain amount of blur. And the very Amiga-like background image is just really kind of neat. That was a fun image to look at. And then we've got
I agree.
2 more. One of them appears to be from a video game that maybe he was working on, which I think that I would probably play this video game. He looks rather inviting. This one's called Adventure Grotte. So that's a fun one. Made this in 1994. Hopefully he'll finish the game soon. This one, if you're a youngster, close your eyes. This one is called Vice Piscine, which sounds like something about a fish, actually. But this one I just thought was a really cool, and I think it's even a maybe vector-based software that he used on this one because of the curves that are in the image. But I thought it was a really, really, really well done image. Any opinions in general on Ivan's images, Kevin?
Yes, that particular image that you showed recently, it looks like it's come out of the Grand Theft Auto or design, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, there was heaps of, there's quite a lot of variation too in the style, which was really nice to see. There was a lot of experimentation. We'll show these in the art gallery later, but I think we always come back to the Angel Moon as our favorite one out of all of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Excellent work. Excellent work. Now, our friend JJGB, last year he had, and the winner is on that I used on a lot of the, before I announced the actual winning images, and I'm actually supposed to be doing it this year too, and I've completely forgotten. So here's his winner image for 2022. At last, a winner. Amiga Art Contest 2022. So that's a fun one. Yes, I have that image all ready to go and queued up every time I announce a winner, and I haven't been using it, and that's my fault. So I love his work. Nice stuff. Any feelings on his images?
Yeah, pretty cool. I quite like it. It's a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Absolutely.
It's yeah. Looks like a good office to work in, actually.
Yeah, I'd work there. And I think we'll all recognize our friend John Bince's awesome rabbit. And I absolutely love the blue in the background there. To me, that looks like it was hand-drawn with some type of tablet, pressure-sensitive tablet or something. John, if you're still in the chat, let me know if it was. But this is a cool image, and I really, really, really like your avatar there, your bunny avatar. He's awesome.
I think John says that he uses True Brilliance for this one, and took him 3.5 hours to complete this one. It's nice to see other people using Ham 8. It's a fun mode to play in.
He's got that ability to capture emotion and expression down pat. I mean, you can look at this bunny and you can tell how happy the bunny is, and just the way the eyes are looking. You know, so many people would think, okay, I'm drawing a picture, I have to have the eyes looking directly at you. No, he's got it down where he knows how to make an image have some personality and have some emotion. Excellent, excellent work. So next up, our good friend Jojo073, who we've already talked about doing the animation. But take a look at El Diablo. Speaking of people who have the skill to create emotion in their images and be able to capture emotion on somebody's face in 16 colors. Look at this one. That's impressive. What's he looking at? What's in the back seat? Look at those eyes. Look at the reflection in those glasses. Oh my goodness. And Jojo will take you step by step through the creation of these images right on his YouTube channel. He'll actually draw it right live on his YouTube channel, and you can see every little dot he fills in, all the dithering he does. It just knocks my socks off. He's subscribed to Jojo's channel. Kevin, your opinion on this?
Doug, I remember when we were talking about this, these, looking through them, and often they remind me of some of the Cinemaware games, you know, Sinbad and Defender of the Crown or other Cinemaware games, and you think, oh, he'd be awesome at, you know, adding artwork to a game like that, you know.
Yep, and he does. He
beautiful.
He actually makes lots of games. He comes out with probably, I would say, 2 or 3 Amiga games every year. Like Airmail he came out with, Zorro he came out with, and I know he's got a new one, and the name of it is slipping my mind, but it's an awesome game. He's very prolific in the Amiga community for creating games too. So wow, nice job, Jojo. You the man.
Yeah, and you I like enjoy watching his videos too, and he manually places down each little dither pixel.
Yep.
You know, it's very carefully crafted. And we said ourselves, Doug, that we wished he submitted, because he has so much artwork. You think he should have just submitted them all. It would have taken us probably a long time to look through, but would have been worth it.
Absolutely.
Very nice submission.
Absolutely. Now this next submission, we've got a story behind this one. Captain John Archer, as he's known on Amiga Bill's channel. His name is actually Michael Jurish, but we all know him as Captain John Archer with Amiga Bill's channel. Last year, his 12-year-old son, Julian, was taking a look at the Amiga Art Contest, or he heard about the Amiga Art Contest on Bill's channel, and being 12 years old, he wanted to try out and maybe create an image. So last year, let's see if this one comes up okay. This is what he submitted last year, 2021, and I want to use this to relate it to what he created this year. So this is 2021 Julian, and it is a cool picture for a 12-year-old to create. Absolutely a stunning, stunning picture, and really put a lot of detail into it. But now let's take a look at what he's come up with for this year with his submissions. Closing all the files. Julian. Here we go. Entry number 1. Look what he's progressed to now. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And just you know, motivated, like, hey Dad, this is cool. The Amiga Art Contest. Can I try a little artwork? So he doodles some cool stuff, and now he's creating images like this. This just really impresses me. And then I'll bring up his next image, and then Kevin, you might have some stuff to say about Julian's stuff too, since it looks like he's going to get into the field of creating video games from the look of it. And we're bringing up the next image. Look at the back view, the front view, and the side view, and just really fun stuff that he's coming up with.
Yeah, you can see that you're sort of planning. I know this shot where you got the different angles of the spaceship there, for example. You can see how you're setting up the scene for building the game. These are a lot of fun, and it takes me back to when I first started creating pixels. This is exactly how I started too. This is, you know, you draw little elements, you draw your planet, you draw the ship, you draw the stars. Mm-hmm. It's a great 2 submissions there from Julian.
And 12 years old.
A lot of fun.
So far we've got a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old, and both of them can hand draw images better than me. Absolutely true.
And you can see in this design too that the shading too, so experimenting with the different tools. You know, you got the gradient tools. Very cool. And I just noticed before, it's funny, every time you look at these images you go, oh, I didn't remember seeing that last time, but the lemmings are back again.
Oh my goodness, there's lemmings in the image, and I missed. Oh my goodness, they're on the the Halo dude's head. Kevin, I've looked at this picture 50 times. How did I miss those? Wow.
I don't know. That's pretty cool. That'd be a pretty cool level to play.
That is. That's cool. I think you ought to hire him, Kevin, to help make your next game.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll work cheap. He's only 12. He'll work cheap. Now, this next image is by somebody named Colonel Sanders or Kevin Saunders, something like that. And I think we could probably get in touch with the original artist, and he can tell us about this lovely image he submitted to Amiga Art Contest this year.
Sure. This was a fun image to create. I just wanted to try. I've never created too many things in 256 colors in brilliance, so I just wanted to experiment. And I think I've got some YouTube videos of how I created some of the shadows. So there's some things that I'm trying to teach a few people how to use the fixed background tool at the moment. There's a few tutorials I have out there, but sometimes you can manually place down the shadows on some areas, but there's some tricks to make it a little bit quicker. So this particular one was just more of a fun image of a self-portrait. I did one years ago. I think I posted on one of my channels where I lost my image, but it was a self-portrait as well, but I managed to print it out in color, and I've posted that somewhere. But this is the evolution of it, so it's a nice one. And I think the circuit board thing too is with technology where we feel like we're almost blended into the computers that we use every day, so it's nice to have that sort of hybrid. And I guess in some ways I like that sort of slightly tech or painterly sort of style as well. So it's a mixed bag of things. So it's nice to submit something.
Yeah, I'm just I'm absolutely floored by the quality of your work. I mean, you've done all the graphics for my channel for 2 or 3 years now, so I really, really love the way you do things. You have 10 times the talent I have 100 times the talent I have of this kind of work. So fantastic job. And being that you're a judge, I'm sure you picked that for best of show. So unfortunately, we are not able to be winners. Okay.
Well, I think that's the most important thing though, Doug, is to be part of the contest, really. I've loved submitting stuff every year, so
I love creating stuff for the show too. And I had about 6 other photo images that I wanted to create that I'd spent some time on and worked on, but the past couple of months have just been so busy I haven't been able to finish them. I did get a couple stuff put in here, but there's more that I wanted to do. This next one is from Pajako6502, and this is a runabout from Deep Space Nine that he created years ago in deluxe paint on his Amiga 500 in 16 colors. And I think for a 16 color image, hand drawn, that is pretty darn impressive for a runabout. If you're a Star Wars, I didn't just say Star Wars, did I? I said Star Wars. Obviously, this is Harry Potter's runabout. If you're a Star Trek fan, Deep Space Nine like I am, you'll know exactly what a runabout is. Nice job, Pajako.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I was looking at that one, and I was looking at the pixels just before actually, and going, oh, that'll fit into a nice shooter, nice big mothership to destroy.
Yep, sure would. Yep. So, nice job, Pajako. Now, I think you guys already know that I like Rod March's artwork, considering I have it on my desktop here, his picture from last year. But he sent some more stuff here that is absolutely some of the cutest work I have ever seen. Let's look at Smiler. His stuff always has this hand-drawn pencil look that I am just so enamored with since he's been submitting stuff, so enamored with it. And I just think it's so fun and creative. It always gives me kind of a Ralph Bakshi kind of feel, where back in the 70s and 80s, Ralph Bakshi made these really, really weird animals and creatures and had like wizards riding on them and just off-the-wall stuff. And it's always really reminded me of that. And I think Smiler here is rather handsome. Let's bring up Camera Eyes, and I think Camera Eyes was one that you really specifically enjoyed, Kevin. We talked a lot about this one.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, the submissions that Rod has submitted, I actually really like the simplicity of this. There's actually no color; they're just grayscale, not just, but they're lovely drawings in grayscale, and they've got a nice emotive feel about them. You just want to see these little animated characters. You want to know more about them. It gives you a very nice curiosity about it.
Yeah, because you know that he has a backstory, I'm sure, for all of these creations. You know, when you're creating a piece of hand-drawn art like this, you almost have to have some kind of backstory in your head. Who is this creature? Who does it work with? Is it good? Is it evil? Is it... And you know that there's a story behind all of Rod's stuff, and I would love to hear the stories behind it. And Elefump is adorable, and this is definitely a contestant for a new background screen on one of my Amigas. I might put this on my Amiga 600. I think Elefump, it just looks so happy and adorable. Any opinions on that one?
Yes. Yeah, I know this is one of your favorites too, Doug. It's a really nice, fun drawing. Very cool.
Yep.
Beautiful.
All right. Moving right along, Ryan Davenport submitted quite a few images, and again, I'm going to pick out a couple of the ones that really stand out as really fun images. First one is Amiga 4002. These are all hand-drawn, and he said he basically was just looking at the real thing and then trying to recreate it by hand, which I think is a pretty cool way to do it. I wish that I could do it, and I think he did a pretty darn good job of it. And then his next one is the same Amiga 4000, but with planets, because how else would you want to improve your Amiga 4000 than putting some three-dimensional planets around it? So he did a really cool job in that one here too. And here, his MIDI system is actually kind of cool. Let's make sure I open the right one up. MIDI System 2. Yeah, this one. Hand-drawn. And I think you had some particular feelings about the way that he drew the speakers here that you were telling me about the other day, Kevin, on the Philips MIDI System one.
Yeah, it's a nice way to... I mean, that's the probably best way to do that mesh texture on top of the speaker system, is doing that dithering, transparent look about it. It's pretty cool. It's nice seeing pixel art like this, and I was just looking back at the other submission too of the almost chrome-looking Amiga 4000. I thought that'd be pretty cool to have one of those. That's almost mirror reflective-looking Amiga computer.
Yeah,
with the planets.
Yeah, it would. It really would. And yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, I really like his stuff. So Sasha Brandt contributed a few things last year and has come back and with some new contributions. This one's called Sandra Lionheart, and I think it's pretty cool. She looks beautiful. Sandra Lionheart just looks lovely, and I really like what Sasha does with these images of animals. And the next one is even better, in my humble opinion. Sarah Fox.
And these were colored using Photogenics 5, I think. Yep. Very nice.
Yep. Photogenics 5. WinUAE.
Yep.
Really nice quality images. Really great detail. Great use of color, and really nice. Excellent job.
Nice shading. Yeah.
Next up is the talented Sophie Rose, who happens to be in the chat right now. I just said hello to my friend Sophie, and I'm sad that Sophie did not send a mod file this year because I loved her mod file so much last year. But this year she decided to do some hand-drawn stuff. So she's created this really cool image in DPaint 3. And I think she said that this was one of her first attempts at doing something hand-drawn like this. Now, Sophie also likes Macs and Atari STs, but we forgive her because she still owns some Amigas, and we'll just let that go. What's your opinion of her beautiful scene here, Kevin?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I quite like this silhouette style. I mean, I'm always, when I look at these designs, you always think of this would be a cool game to make as well. It's I love the silhouette look. I love that sort of obvious copper looking background, and you just want to play it.
Absolutely.
You can just you can see the smoke coming from the little chimney there. It's all the rockets, the little jets. It's pretty cool. I like it.
So you got that, Sophie? We're waiting on a game. We expect it done by what, end of the year, Kevin?
Hopefully, yeah. There's a month to go.
Yeah, you got a month to go. Let's finish up the game and let's see what you have, Sophie. But really cool work. Thanks a lot for your contribution.
Nice submission. Yeah.
All right. Our next friend is Timo Paul. If this image does not make you smile, you literally have no soul. So let's bring it up here. This one, my son Daniel and I were looking at this a couple of weeks ago, and we're both just like, that is adorable. That is so cute. Look at the little mouse up to the right of the little dog and his keyboard. I'm sure it's an Amiga 500 he's on. The musical notes, and I'd like this to be an animation. That would make a really, really cool little animation. What's your opinion of this very simple but very adorable image, Kevin?
Yeah, I really love this one too. It's, when we go through all the submissions, you get a whole range of really fun, and some are quite dark. You get a whole range of styles, and this is very much a fun image, and you can't not smile at seeing this one all the time. It's very cute.
Yep.
And of course, the little mouse there, and you're wondering what it's up to. I'm sure it's up to mischief. Pretty cute.
And it just reminds us all that images and photos, or not images, pictures, things like that, don't always have to be photographic quality. They can be fun, like Illustrious Rabbit's rabbit. Absolutely, they can just be simple and fun, and they're just as likely to bring joy to your heart as something with incredible detail and fine control, like Kitty Cooper. Something simple like this can be just as enjoyable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with any of them. I love them. Next, my friend Yawning Angel, who has a YouTube channel that is growing quite nicely. You should check out Yawning Angel. He does some stuff in Eros, if you like the Eros language, some tutorials and some reviews. He's got a great little channel. And this is his hand-drawn image. The things that stand out to me to this are the perspective that he's trying to achieve is really fun. And also I like the fact that the planet up there is throwing a shadow down on the Amiga Boing Ball floor. I think that's fun. I think he did a nice job on this one.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's it plays on your. It's one of those illusion type of images, isn't it? Where you see the floor and then you see the stairs going into space, and you're thinking, is it actual real space or is it an actual painted wall? So I love that play on what's going on in the scene. It's like a puzzle to solve.
Yeah, and I think you'd agree that one of the really important things about any kind of hand-drawn art, whether you're using pencils or pens or a computer, is trying to master perspective, trying to get the perspective down where things look like they could almost be three-dimensional. And once you conquer the perspective thing, it can really, really enhance the quality of work that you do. And this is a really good example of experimenting with perspective.
Yeah, very much so. And I enjoyed seeing that little soft shadow there down underneath. So is it part of the sphere above? Is it a planet? Is a so it really plays with your mind in a nice creative way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very cool.
And now that I have not forgotten to do, and the winner is at last a winner, which I was supposed to do from the beginning, let's talk about our winners. So let's start with our runner-up this year, our third place winner, which is the absolutely wonderful dog picture from Timo Paul that we've just been talking about. This one, again, just tugged my heartstrings, loved it. My son loved it. And I think this is well deserving of a place in the wall of awards there. Any opinions on that one? Anything else you want to say about that one?
Well, this one always was a very popular one with the patrons as well as ourselves. I think the fact that it was a very much of a fun image, it's well deserved third place for sure. I really enjoyed looking at this, and I'd love to see more actually. I'm kind of ready for the next, when you see all these different artists who submit artworks, we have to make sure that we get their links and added to somewhere, the website or something, because you just want to see more artwork like it. Beautiful.
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah.
How did and the winner is get back there? Huh. I must have clicked that wrong. Now, just on a side note, Pixel Vixen Vicky just showed up in the chat here, so please, everybody, give a warm welcome to our good friend Vicky, and we hope that her wrist gets better, that she injured in a skating accident a couple of weeks ago, and it was a pretty nasty spill she took. So I hope you're healing up fine, my friend, and thank you so much for showing up today, and we love you, Vicky. Yeah. So let's move on to our second place position here as soon as I can get here. Now this one, I think you'll all agree, is well worthy of winning a second place prize here. And this is from our friend Carlos with his No Signal. There we go. Lovely. This one, from the beginning, I've just had a feeling that this was going to be one of the top contenders, and just absolutely well deserved, and our patrons loved it too. Any further comments on this one?
Yeah, as I agree too. It's well deserved. It's a very creative design. It's yeah, we kept coming back to this one all the time, So it's again, this was one of the harder categories too to choose because there were so many submissions. But we managed in the end at the 11th hour, I think, to get, because the points were so close.
Yep.
But yes. Well deserved.
Yep, this is absolutely well deserved. Beautiful image. Okay, let's move on to our first place winner. And first place is interesting this year because there were so many submissions that literally we had such a hard time deciding about the first place winner. And there were a couple of them that were just like, these are so beautiful, these are so wonderful, and the patrons love them, and I just didn't know what to do to make everything happy. And then I realized, I said, Doug, this is your contest. You can do whatever the heck you want to in your own contest. And so I decided there is going to be 2 first place winners, evenly matched this year. And I just have to come up with a new prize for both first place winners. And our first place winner is Gordian Newman's Inner Portal. This one, again, knocks my socks off. I hope all of you make this a background image on your Amigas, because this is an absolutely beautiful image and well worthy of first place. And who's our... Go ahead, Kevin, please.
Sorry, yeah, I agree. There was quite a few submissions from this artist, and even then it was coming down to which one. But I think luckily the patrons actually helped to decide, made it a little bit easier for us. But it's a beautiful 16 color design, that one, and I'd love to see the work in progress of that one too. Actually, it'd be great to see.
Yeah, there were at least
well,
2 or 3 of his images that we were going back and forth on as to which one, was going to be a winner, and all of them could be. Yeah. And our tied for first place is the absolutely wonderful Kitty Cooper from our good friend Eric Schwartz, just because it's such an incredible image on the that's created almost entirely on the Amiga. It had to show up someplace, and So it's now tied for first place. Both of them get a first place prize. So it's my contest. I can do what I want.
I think it helped too that the people who voted, came up there as well, and we just loved this piece as well, and it's well deserved as a first place. Definitely.
Yep.
It's a very creative one, Eric.
And I would love to see more Kitty Cooper. That would be just awesome if he actually went forward and did some cool stuff with that. So, next up are our mods. Now, some of these mods are a little bit longer than others. A few of them I'll be playing back right from the Amiga, and others I will be playing back right on my PC because of how they're created. So, we may take just a little break while these are playing because they take a couple of minutes. If this is a good time, Kevin, for you to, if you need to go do anything, get some more water or anything. But let's start out with Fireboy's mod that he created on the Amiga, and this one is called Sadness. Now let's turn on the Amiga sound. There we go. And we're going to play Sadness, and this should be playing back in Eagle Player. pretty darn impressive. That was absolutely incredible. And like I've been posting in the chat, I love all the little twists and all the little turns that Sadness took. Because when I first heard it, I thought, oh yeah, Sadness. I can see that at the beginning, how sad. But man, then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, roller coaster. Okay, down here, roller coaster. That's a cool file. I really enjoyed that. Kevin, what's your opinion on that one?
Yeah, I really love this one too, and I'm going to play it a few more times. I was just saying in the chat too, I'm going to burn all these, copy them onto a CD so I can listen to them in the car when I'm driving to work. It's they're just too good not to want to listen to again. This particular one though, it was mentioned that it was created lots of years ago, and what I love about this too, this art contest, is you start pulling out of the things that sits on people's drives, and all of a sudden we've got this awesome track that we can all enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that's just wonderful. Really loved it. Now, this next one is rather unique. This is from George Albright, and he wants to explain this next song called Try Paula. And I want to explain it in his own words. So I'm now channeling George Albright. I've been an Amiga fanatic since 1988 in 7th grade. My best friend got an Amiga 500 and I was blown away. For the next year, I saved my paper route money to buy an Amiga 2000 from Software Hut. I miss Software Hut. Throughout high school and my early 20s, I bought as much Amiga stuff as I could afford. I now have 2 A1000s, 2 A500s, and 2 A2000s, and an Amiga 3000. That's a nice collection. Along with the great hardware and software collection. I've written music for years in my Amigas. He says the Shadow of the Beast intro hooked him. So that being said, I wanted to be creative in my endeavor for this contest. This is the cool part. I used 3 Amigas, all using Octamed Pro 4, using only 4 channels on each machine. I found when you went beyond 4 channels in Octamed, it lowered the sound output and had other limitations. And he says, as you know, Paul only has 4 channels. So to get the sound I wanted, I used an Amiga 500, an Amiga 2000, and an Amiga 3000. The A500 handled the drum sequences, the 3000 handled the MIDI using ECE MIDI and a Radio Shack MD1160 MIDI keyboard, and the 2000 filled in with the rest. Digitized most of the samples with the Amiga, and a few converted from PC. Along with Octamed, he used Music X, AMAS, bars and pipes in various ways. All the Amigas were connected to an EV100 Entertainer powered mixer and manually synced with each other, meaning I used my finger on the spacebar to start and stop the machines when I needed to. I recorded the mix into a PC using Adobe Audition, and Audition allowed me to use an equalizer and other effects in the final project, and apply a stereo combination of the Amigas, because he didn't like the stereo sound of them all running together. And he says it's not perfect, but it's my first attempt, and he has some new ideas to make this easier to accomplish, like syncing the machines with cables and writing code to talk to each other. So he's going to be working on this same theory of using 3 Amigas to create an all-in-one file, but I want you guys to enjoy the music that he's created. So here comes Try Paula, as soon as I can find it. There she is. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty darn impressive if you ask me. Those three computers, those three Amigas, mixed together and then syncing them manually to try and get it all to work together, that's a lot of work, but that is
this was pretty trippy. I always love the fact that when people sort of step out in a different way and create things,
what he did there. And by the way, our very own DJ has just entered the building. Everyone welcome Ravi Abbott.
We don't
just
really
showed
call
up. Welcome, Ravi.
I'm so glad you're here. To have
and
three
Kevin,
portal
what's your
chips
opinion
to
on
create
this
track is a
on Tripole?
really interesting, creative way to generate music. I was a bit spun out reading how it was made, to be honest, but I love that creativity of it, and it's a great track, excellent track.
And that's why I wanted to read the novel that he had written here. I mean, literally, that's what I read to you about how he did it, just because it's so cool and it's so important in the understanding of what he did to accomplish what he accomplished. Now, a couple of years ago, I did a Christmas song on the deluxe music on the Amiga, and then I did the same song and created it using some music software from Firebird software on the Commodore 64 using the SID chip, and I played them back to back as a comparison of what the different software packages could do. And it got me thinking how fun it would be to create music and created by these two fictional people called Sid and Paula, and create, Paula music and Sid music and have them working with each other and playing with each other. And then I realized, Douglas, you have no musical talent. You can't do that. So if anybody else wants to pick up that torch and create some kind of harmony with Sid chip and Paula chip, do it. I think that'd be fun. So our next piece of software. Oh, is my audio lagging behind again? I'm sorry. Our next song is going to be from our friend Helgi again. And again, this is for the fictional Last Ninja game. This one we're going to be playing direct from the Amiga. And let me turn the Amiga's audio back on. There we go. Okay, let's get the... There we go. Get my audio turned back on here. Helgi is a unique individual in that he creates music for the Amiga, and he's actually he's partially deaf, and he still manages to create really, really cool music for the Amiga. So thumbs up to Helgi for that. That was a fun tune. I really like kind of the jungle beat to it. Very atmospheric, very atmospheric. And before you jump in, Kevin,
the audience mentioned
4chan
that your
Prez
audio's
mentioned
gone
that
out,
my
but while I
audio
mentioned
and
that,
video
I
is out of sync.
really
That's because I'm actually
love
an
this
actual
piece as well.
glitch in the
I think I
matrix. I'm
mentioned
kind
in
of
the
like
chat that it
Neo,
reminds me
so
of it. It's got
those things
obviously
happen
got a very
sometimes.
much of a
But I made a little
jungle
change to my audio
vibe
settings.
to
I
it.
hope
It's
it
a
helps.
bit of a
But
reminds me of playing
Kevin,
Brian the
what's your
Lion
opinion of
or
Helgi's
Donkey Kong
contribution?
And it was great to see Helg submit some music because we've enjoyed listening to a lot of his music that he's created in the past. So yes, this was a great submission as well, and these are always really hard to choose. I think I'm trying to think how many submissions we have. We had quite a few, and you know, who do you choose as the best track? So it's these three tracks we just played before are just awesome.
Absolutely cool. Okay, so our next contributor is my good friend Pack Billy, who created this back in the day with a friend on an Amiga.
Yeah, it's definitely wacky, and it reminds me of the cartoons I used to watch as a young kid
And
growing up, whether it's
wackiness
Tom and Jerry or
definitely
some of
is a
those goofy
legitimate
sort of
name for that song.
prank sort of
Heck,
cartoons.
Billy's awesome though. You should subscribe to his YouTube
good
channel.
times.
He does some fun
Okay.
stuff on there, and he's quite a character. Any opinions about wackiness, Kevin? And welcome, Amiga Bill. Bill just arrived on the channel, so everyone, big welcome to our good friend Bill. Hey, Bill! So next up, our friend Paulie Alex Bow, and I hope Paulie's in the chat. I haven't really seen her, but I hope Paulie's in the chat. She submitted 2 really awesome pieces this year. The first one is a med file done using Octamed. It is called Aging, and she called it Aging because
Yeah, it's a great track. It's nice to see Paulie here as well. I've always enjoyed watching her videos where she shows how she's created some of these tracks. So it's as a non-musician myself, I just do pixels, but I love seeing how these tracks are created. Very cool. Very cool.
and dreams hang in the air. Gulls in the sky and in my grey eye. You know it feels unfair. There's magic everywhere. Look at me standing here on my own.
first of all, can you guys hear me? That's the important thing. I need to know if you guys can actually hear me. Oh, look, Kevin's gone. There's Kevin. So I understand that they're still having a synchronization problem, that my audio and video is not syncing right. Maybe I'll just talk like this, so when I'm talking, they won't know when I'm talking, and it won't sound like my video's out of sync. So, what's your opinion of that wonderful life video, Kevin?
Love this one. This is, this is a track that this is probably one of my, it's in my top list anyway, from the artist Black, and the remix and rendition of this one, as well as the video too. I mean, we're judging this on the music aspect of it, but it was really cool to see the video, and I love that. I think somebody mentioned last time, that pixelated Gucci source style, people sign them, I'm sure there's a lot of time and effort to make that. I think I enjoy another remix of this song, because, you know, it's on my top list of songs I enjoy listening to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just absolutely love the video, and I'm glad we went with the decision to show the video, because I think everyone will agree it's very Amiga oriented. It's like half of it was all about the software and the Amiga that created, and just absolutely amazing. Everybody subscribe to Golden Egg channel, and can't see the name of her other channel because it makes me blush, but there's some good music on the Elmo's Sexless channel too. See, I'm blushing now. But yeah, Paulie is an excellent artist. She does some excellent work. So I recommend everybody check her out. But we need to move on to the winners of the music category. And this was actually really, really tough, because everything just knocks my socks off. Just absolutely wonderful. And it's so hard. So our runner-up this year for our third place winner was Try Paula from George Albright. What an incredible song that was. What an incredible piece. And you have no idea how difficult it was to do anything with this music category this year, because everything changed. So, George Albright. Any comments about that, and specifically Kevin? On the second place.
Just quickly that places the cover was sorry, because it was incredibly hard decision, so it was well deserved for most sure. I'd like to hear one of those
and literally virtually every song in the music category could easily have been. I mean, it would have taken nothing for every song. You've got to narrow it down, and that's what the beauty is when it's song. By saying, okay, this has a few votes here, okay, that pushes it up the scale, but every last one of them was in the running for best song. Just incredible. Now our second place winner is Last Ninja 4 from Helgi Kvalheim, and congrats to Helgi. It was really an enjoyable piece, and he worked so hard on his music, and really puts his heart in it. You can tell he puts his heart into the songs he does, and they're important to him, and it really showed through on this one. He did a really excellent job on this. Any comments on Helgi winning second place?
Agreed. Well deserved. Love that track.
Yep, absolutely. And first place winner this year, because there has to be a first place winner. This one goes to the awesome Sadness mod from Fireboy. What a piece of music. And me personally, the one thing that pushed me over the edge with this one is it's one that I love to go back and listen to over and over again. I want to test audio on one of my Amigas. I want to test my speakers. I'll put Fireboy's song in here, Sadness, and listen to it. I'm like, yeah, this is a different thing. And yep, so first place this year is Sadness from Fireboy. Really bad.
music probably is too loud, I think people are saying, when we play the tracks back. Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
I apologize. Try Paula was not supposed to be playing there. I must have accidentally clicked it. And just so you understand, when those are playing through OBS, I can't hear them. I can only see the meters in the screen, and I did not catch it. I apologize that Try Paula was playing again. I did not mean to start that music. So I think we have no music playing in the background now. So I apologize, Kevin. Go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah, no worries at all. This was a really difficult to choose, but we love every single one. So how do you decide? it's yeah, definitely well worth Sadness for number one. Yeah.
Something's still playing? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, my fault. All right, so now that we've overcome that little technical glitch there, and again, I apologize for that, for that song playing in the background there, just a misclick of the mouse. That brings us into our final category, the photo category. And this is my favorite thing to do on the Amiga because I have so little talent with hand-drawn stuff or music or animation or anything like that. But I am a photographer and have been for 30 years, 35 years. And I love taking my photographic images, bringing them into the Amiga, and having fun and doing creative things with them. Just bringing a little something Amiga out. So let's delve right into our photo category. And I think everybody knows this guy. This is Amiga Bill. And this was fun because Kevin and I were on Amiga Bill's show just the other week. And he was showing off some of the photographs that he'd been taking. And he looked at this one. He's like, oh, I have an idea for the art contest. Oh, yeah, I got an idea. And he didn't tell us what it was. And then a couple of week or two ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, he sent this to me. And this is a really cool picture. I really, really enjoy what he did with this one. So any opinion on the King Kong picture here, Kevin?
Yeah, it's always cool to see Amiga Bill enter the contest, and enjoyed his stream creating this particular image. It's very funky, and I think one of the things we always enjoy about Amiga Bill, besides his streams, is his great photography that he has. So it's a nice, fun image, and enjoyed this one for sure. Very nice.
Bill has an incredible eye, obviously because of what he does for a living, but he's really, really got an eye for photography, and I love what he does when he combines his photography with the Amiga. Yep, fantastic, Bill, as always. And our next Amiga friend coming up here, we've got Anthony Jarvis. I hope he's still in the chat here. Anthony, who does Amiga Show, which everyone needs to subscribe to, he had a cool project the other week on his show. And it was where he took a Digiview and did some really, really creative things with his Digiview, and actually captured them with a camera a digital camera that supported black and white, and he'd capture the images on this camera and then bring them right into Digiview right from the camera. This is one of his images he did. I love the effect of looking down this passage in this red brick wall, and this is all in extra half bright mode, and this is super, super awesome picture. Really love it's the bricks, the color of the bricks, really a fantastic image here. And then this one, I love this image. What he did with this one, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, if you're still in the chat, he took his Digiview, and each scan takes about 30 seconds, each filter, red, green, and blue filter as it goes around. So he would take a 30-second image, and of course the tree's not moving, but the people in the park, they were going about their day. So some of them were caught with the red filter, some caught with the green, some caught with the blue, and it created this absolutely ghostly, otherworldly effect in the image that just knocked my socks off. So as soon as I saw his video on it on his Amiga Show channel, I got in touch with him. I said, Anthony, please send some of these in to the Amiga Art Contest. These are just phenomenal. So moving right along, he also did This is a comparison between a Ham 6 image taken by the DigiView, which is stunningly beautiful, but the DigiView also captures images in 21-bit color. So we move on to his next image. It's the same picture, but in the full 21-bit color, RGB color that the DigiView supports. So that's internally what the Amiga is basically seeing, is a beautiful 21-bit image like this, and then it re-renders it as the Ham 6. But you can save them and export them as the original 21-bit images, and they're just fantastic. They're just gorgeous. And Anthony really opened my eyes to some of the other things that DigiView can do, and I can't wait to get back playing with mine. Kevin, any opinion on these? Have you used a DigiView before?
Many years ago at art college, we did have them, and yeah, I enjoyed the process. I kind of wish I had the hardware again, because I really enjoyed the park one, where it breaks down those people there and the dog and the, you know, where it's captured. They look like little lollies or candy people, you know, little jelly bear things. You know, it's got a bit of a haunting sort of feel to it. You know, you think they're like ghostly images in the park, like a memory, a distant memory. It's pretty wicked.
Yep, I've got that image back on the screen, and the third person from the right, I think, was fairly well standing still for two of the color wheel images, because there's one person where their image is actually darker and more realistic than the rest, and then with the third image you can see them like walking away. Just incredible, just fantastic. Really, really impressed with the work that Anthony did. I hope he's there blushing in the chat right now. Wonderful. So Carlo Biondini, I believe he's in the chat, or he was in the chat. He sent a couple of cool images in, and let's see what those look like. These were done with an Amiga 500 with a PiStorm using Art Department Professional, one of my favorites, Image Studio, Photogenics, and Graphics 2. Now, honestly, Graphics 2 I've never used before. I think you have, Kevin, but or you at least know what it is.
Yeah.
But I need to get familiar with that. So, yep, that's a fun image. A statue with a mask on it, very, very timely. And this next one, I love this. This is called Warhol RAM Expansion, and of course motivated by Andy Warhol's series of pictures with his multiple color pictures of the same thing, like the tomato soup cans and such. But this has an Amiga touch, because that's a 512 kilobyte Amiga 500 expansion card there. Really creative. Any opinions on these, Kevin?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I always like seeing the art style of Andy Warhol, and you know, we all remember seeing Andy Warhol on the Amiga 1000 demonstrating graphic craft, doing the fill tool. Anyway, it's nice seeing the representation of Amiga-based things with the style of Andy Warhol, that color, classic sort of color technique.
Yep, absolutely cool. Really impressive stuff. So Carlos, great job. Our next set of photos is going to be, our next photo is from Dan Welsh. This one was taken in a park in central Illinois, and being that it's in, southern Illinois, I've probably been to the park before. I used to live in Illinois. The image was imported into Image Effects 4.5 to adjust the size, and then modified with Deluxe Paint 5. And he's using, this is cool, a Vampire standalone V4 with OS 3.2.1 to create the image. So that's really impressive. And I don't remember there being that much volcanic activity in southern Illinois, so I think I see where he maybe modified this one. I like it, though. It makes it a cool, like a portal to hell type image. Kevin, any opinions?
Yeah, this is always, you know, one of the fun things when you edit photos in the paint program, and say you've got, you know, 32 colors, some of those darker shades. It's nice. One of the nice things about using the paint tools is you can select a few of the colors, recolorize them, and there's your lava effect. It's pretty groovy. I like this.
True.
It's very nice.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what would be?
Can't quite do it in. Yeah.
What would really be?
You can't
cool?
quite do these same effects in Photoshop. Yeah.
Make a little.
Sorry, Dave.
Make a little spread of colors you know, going from maybe dark red to bright red, and do a little color cycling on those images down in there, where they're cycling through, you know, getting a little brighter, a little darker, just something subtle. Oh, that would be really a cool effect, I think. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Yep. All right, moving right along, this character named Douglas Compton. And you can see there's a bunch of my images that I was going to play with, but only one of them that I finished. And this is my sunset picture. And it came up incorrectly. Okay, that's fine. We'll be okay. So this one was shot from out of my the front of my house, and it's just a gorgeous sunset like we get oftentimes in Tucson, Arizona. But in the original picture, you could see details in the house. In the front there, you can see the chimneys. You can see details in the trees. But what I did is I wanted to take all the detail out and just have it a really, really cool silhouette with a beautiful 4096 color ham 6 sunset there, just to give it a really, really pops. So I had fun with this one. You have any opinions on this one, Kevin?
Yes, I was just entering the chat there. Chris was saying that I've entered my own art prize competition, but no, no, same for Doug as well. We both love entering, but we're happy to be judges this year for sure. But thank you. This particular image, I was talking to you the other day about it, and I said I could see a face in the shadow of the clouds there under the palm trees on the left-hand side. I thought it looks like somebody's looking to the left there. So that's what I love about silhouette sort of imagery like this, that you can, besides the beautiful sunset colors, it's always nice to see what other details you have in a picture that you don't expect.
And yes, Chris Edwards, my art contest, my images, I win. Grand prize for me. No, we can't judge our own images, but we just love creating them. So yes, I will always contribute something to my own art contest. Love it. Okay, next up, all right, Eric Schwartz. Eric, now this is kind of a cool image right here. Let's bring Eric Schwartz up. Now, the first thing, this is not his image that he contributed. What this is the photograph that he used as a base for the image. So take a look at the cool spaceship there, held up with some kind of plastic toy knife with a piece of cardboard as the background. This is the image that Eric used as the base for the one he actually contributed, which is Galactic Man. Come on up, Galactic Man. So you can see where the photograph is used, how he completely and totally changed everything in order to achieve this cool image. I was really, really impressed with how he was able to do that, how he did that. What are your opinions on this one, Kevin?
Yeah, it's always nice seeing how an image was created, and it gives you ideas yourself. You think, oh, I'm going to take a photo of something and outside, and then composite it inside on your art program. And it was a nice surprise from Eric too, because at least in my own head, I always have a particular visual style. I see what he does, and he certainly surprised us this year with different submissions like this. So it's a pretty cool image.
Absolutely.
Should make use of that one.
Yep.
I like the logo down the bottom there too, the pig noses.
Pig noses, I love pig noses. I'd play this game for sure. Just some things that Eric said about this image. He said, the idea behind this was to see if I could take a photo of a toy and manipulate it to look like a loading or title screen from a classic Amiga shoot-'em-up game. Absolutely does. Photo taken with a Samsung tablet, composited with space stock photo in Photogenics 5, scaling and format conversion in AdPro, and touch-ups and titles added in Personal Paint 7. So, yeah, really cool. I love it. Just really love it. Okay, our next contributor is going to be Haxus Anderson. And Haxus Anderson created an Amiga taco because why wouldn't you want an Amiga taco? It's a photograph of a taco with an Amiga spin to it. Absolutely beautiful. Your opinion, Kevin?
Well, every time I see photos of food, I'm always wanting to actually start eating food. I get really hungry really quickly, but besides that fact, it's a pretty cool, fun image of a taco for sure.
Yep. So I thought this was quite creative. I really like that. Now the next one is from my good friend Jamie Orlando. He posted a picture on Twitter a few weeks ago, an actual picture he took with his camera of the full moon, and he caught it right when a plane was flying in front of the full moon. So he and I started chatting, and I said, you know, you could probably bring that in your Amiga and have a little bit of fun with it and enter it in the contest. And he's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. So we did. This one's called Opalescent Moon, and I think it is really, really cool. I love what he did with the colors of it, and I think he did it on an ECS Amiga 640 by 400, 16 color, using Brilliance and Personal Paint 2. There's a theme going on here about people using multiple packages to get just what they want, and I do the same thing. I'll use 2 or 3 different packages to get just the effect that I want out of an image. Your opinions, Kevin?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool image, and as you mentioned, it was a ECS color image, so that's what was it?
16 color.
16 colors. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool capture too. You know, it's not often you can get a plane flying by like that close up.
Yep.
It's intriguing.
Quite impressed. So Jamie did a fantastic job. Next up, we've got JMA80, and he created a cool image here. And let me tell you the story about this one. It's a high-res image, was taken with a drone, then edited in GIMP on an X5000. I didn't know GIMP was available for the X5000. That's really cool because GIMP's pretty clever. With Amiga OS 4.1, and then converted to ham on an Amiga 2000 with Art Department Professional. And you may have to glance at it twice before you see the Amiga Boing Ball overlaid over the sunset, which is really, really cool. It's a neat effect. It would have been a cool picture without the Boing Ball, but the Boing Ball adds something just a little cool.
Yeah, always nice to have that little Amiga flavor going through the imagery, and I quite like the you know, that banding effect that you get with when you go back to OCS sort of coloring. You see the hues. It's not that perfect blue. You've got bits of greens or bits of reds in it. You know, that's partly the attraction, I think, of the older ham style images. And
it really depends on the mood and what you're trying to achieve, whether or not OCS, ECS palette's the one you want to use, or the AGA palette. And I find myself honestly going back between the two, depending on what I want to get out of it. And there's times I'll get in this ham 6 mood where I'll just start creating all these cool images in ham 6, and then I'll get in this mood where I'll start doing 16 color high res images and just seeing what kind of cool detail I can get out of them, and what kind of cool coloring I can get just using 16 colors. And then another time I'm AGA all the way. So it just depends on the mood, and I'm sure you kind of do the same thing occasionally yourself, Kevin.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, looking at some of these submissions, it reminds me that I really need to tap into using ham 6 a lot more, and even going back to 16 colors. You know, it's nice to come back to some more old school formats.
Yep. All right. Next up, we have an image from JPV RNO. And if his name sounds at all familiar, it's because he is the creator of RNO software. Like down here, if you see my Amiga mouse, RNO Effects. He also has done RNO PDF and RNO Xfer, which is a great FTP program. He does them all in the Hollywood programming language, which is easily, you can create something in Hollywood and then say, okay, compile it for a Mac. Okay, compile it for Amiga OS 4.1 or MorphOS, or compile it for Amiga 68K. It's a very versatile program. So he submitted this image, and he had a little bit to say about it. He said, the original photo was taken by me of my Amiga 600 mouse, which was wrapped in a mask and placed over our users group Amiga mouse mat. image processing is made with RNO effects, which you will all see a review on soon when I'm done reviewing it. Artifact 4 programs on an A1200 with an 060 and RTG. He said he also did the same image on MorphOS, just to make sure that RNO effects was going to work on both of them, and so he did it on MorphOS too. I think it's a really cool image. Any opinions on that? And I'll bring up the 32 color version while you're talking about it, Kevin.
Yeah, sure. We were talking about this as well, and it's a great image. And in fact, I was looking at the 32 and then the full 256 colors, and I think the 32 color is almost better than the higher color one. So it's you know, if you were submitting one, you'd be super happy with the 32 color version of that image. Mm-hmm. It's very clean, very slick.
I think this says a lot for his RNO effects package if he's able to take a 24-bit color image, bring it down to 32 colors in his package, and it looks that good. That is really, really impressive. So I'll put some links in the description when this video goes up to his RNO software. I use 3 or 4 of his packages. I love it. I've sent him some money for him, and he's a great guy. Yep. All right. Now, this next one, I think everybody will agree that I've got the wrong software open here, Multiview. I think everyone will agree this is probably guaranteed best of show winner, hands down, without even a debate. This is from Nico Tomadisis. And I just, how could this not be the absolute best of show winner? Maybe even worthy of an Emmy Award or an Oscar or something. I don't know what kind of award. He took an image of me that he grabbed off of YouTube and had a little fun with it. Thanks, Nico. I love it. Any opinions on this, Kevin, besides wanting me to burn it?
No. No. It's you know, it makes our judging life a bit easier when we've already got a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
This one,
hands down, guaranteed winner.
I'm a little bit nervous for next year now. Somebody's going to do some screen captures of us, and let's see what happens.
Perfect. Nice job, Nico. All right. Our good old friend, Paulie Alex Bow, she returns with some photos which are just adorable because several of them are from Paulie's wife, and they just had an absolutely gorgeous little baby named Fen. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What a beautiful baby. I'm so proud. No pictures of Fen on here, but this is her other baby, her first baby, the Amiga 3000. This was called Amiga 3000 Rainbow, and you can see the cool rainbow coming in through a window, some kind of prism effect coming through there, and it's really cool. And I think you had some commentary on this one too, Kevin.
Yes, well, firstly, it was the blue chair that caught my attention. I thought, wow, I want a blue chair like that. It's such a beautiful color. But that Spectrum, well, and the Amiga, of course, it'll be nice to have that machine.
Oh yeah, that's a honey of a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice picture.
And next one is called Beach, and this has Rebecca in it. This is a lovely little, I think it's a 32 color picture if I'm not mistaken, but really cool. And even in 32 colors, even though you can tell it's a pixelated computer image, the colors that the Amiga came up with for the beach just are really, really impressive. Really nice.
Nice scene, yeah.
And let's move on to the next picture. This one's called Swinging, and you guys will recognize this because it was literally just in the video we saw about half an hour ago. This was the swing that she was on there, and this is a really cool effect. I don't know if the fence is really green, covered in moss, or if it's just picking up all the green from all the plants around her, and then because it was using such a limited palette, it applied them to the fence. But regardless, it made for a really cool looking image. Any opinions on the swing picture?
Yeah, it's good, and I think it also in the music video that you see Paulie swinging in the clip as well. So it's a pretty cool, nice, fun image, and I think that is the green on the. It reminds me of my days when I lived in the UK. Used to have a lot of moss and green things growing on the fences there. So
Never knew you lived in the UK. You find something new every day.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And we've got Waterfall, which is another fun image of Rebecca. And I really like this one. And I think this is also in 32 colors. Look how her hair turned out. That is so vibrant and rich. That the red color of the hair just is so vibrant.
Yeah, it's nice when you see images like this, I like the idea that you sort of almost isolate colors, and we'll see other ones come up soon, where you've just got the focus of a splash of color and everything else is void of color.
Absolutely. Now this one, there's a couple of characters in this one that I think we will all recognize, including one of them who is currently probably still in the chat. Good old Ravi Abbott and David Pleasance. But of course, Paulie is the only one with color because her personality always shines through like that. This was really cool. I love this subtle coloring. Just what needs to be colored. It was colored. Your opinions on this one, Kevin?
I think this is probably one of my favorites of Paulie's because, as just mentioned before, I like the aspect where you reduce all the color and then you just highlight certain elements to give that focus, and it's got a very Paulie feel about it. This one, this is probably a nice moment in time to imagine being next to those two legends.
Yep, absolutely. And it looks like we've got John Schaller, Boat of Car Schaller, who just showed up in the chat. Welcome, John. Thank you for joining the stream today. We appreciate it. Every last one of us loves your show. And if you don't know about the Amigos, you need to know about the Amigos because they are a staple. They are a pillar of the Amiga community, without a doubt. So welcome, John. I appreciate you showing up. Okay, let's move on to our next image here. And we've got Philip Heron. Philip did a fantastic job on this picture. This is so cool. Now this one, he says, the original photo was taken with a Canon EOS 400D. Good choice, I'm a Canon guy myself. Scaled down and dithered in GIMP. Then it was converted to IFF and brought into Deluxe Paint 3, where the Kickstart 2 Plus disc was added and some other touch-ups, which I think is really cool. But I was thinking about this one. Amiga 500 didn't need a Kickstart disc. But that's okay, it's still cool. Your opinions on this one, Kevin? I know you really had some cool opinions about this one.
Well, again, it's the isolating the color, isn't it? And that rotoscoping, having a photographic image, and then converting one element into that, cartoon, almost simple color. I really like this one for its simplicity, and again, it's one of those things where you go, really want to see this animated. Now you can just imagine the photographic hand moving the floppy disk into the drive there.
Oh,
very cool.
That would be really cool because when we boot up our Amiga OS 2.0 and above with no workbench in there, it has the animated floppy going into the drive. What if Philip could animate this as an animation of it constantly going back into the drive, and then Chris Edwards adds it to his next PiMega, where that's one of the images when you boot PiMega is an animation of the disc going into the drive. That would be really cool. Oh, I like that.
That would be very cool.
I like that. That's
very
fun.
Cool.
All right. Next, we move on to Royce Hunt. Royce is a great guy. I always enjoyed him. This is called Gnarly Zombie Flying Monkeys, and it is one of my favorite images. If you take a look at it, first glance, cool. It's a neat old black and white tree until you see the writing up in the top of the tree, which is what he added onto it. He says, here's some concept art for the band Zombie Flying Monkeys for their album Gnarly, done in WinUAE high-res extra half-bright on P-Paint 7.1 and Image Effects 4.5 Studio. I imported the photo of a gnarly tree into Image Effects to scale it down, then loaded it into P-Paint with full overscan EHB, drew the band name and album title amidst the branches, and then added the winged undead monkeys. Because that's what you do. You add winged undead monkeys to things to improve them. Really cool. Now his choice of extra half bright is interesting because maybe it's not all in grayscale. I should load this up in Personal Paint and see if it's actually other colors besides grays. Maybe he's using some blues and things like that that require extra half bright, because if not, then just like a 16 color grayscale would have worked. What do you think about that? Geez, I wish I would have loaded that up.
I think it loads up very similar when I've opened it actually. But what I liked about this particular image, I think it's almost got like a pinkish grey hue to the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first looked at it, I mean, I love trees, so I was just enjoying looking at the tree. And then it took me a few moments to go, oh, there's actually some words in there, there's some monkeys in there. You know, it's it took me a second or third look to go, oh, there's other things in the street now, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to listen to some zombie flying monkeys music too, because I haven't heard about them, but you know, if Royce loves them, they have to be a good band. So, yeah, I love this image. I love this image. This next one has a nice story, and I'm going to read to you the story. Story time with Doug. This is a photo I snapped of my autistic daughter thoroughly enjoying the sunset. The play of the setting sunlight on her face and moving fingers reminded me of some of the glowing red and orange effects used in the 1970s, like on the Return to Forever, No Mystery, and Where Have I Known You Before albums. I imported the photo into Image Effects 4.5 and WinUAE, scaled and cropped it into PAL Overscan, saved it as a 24-bit IFF, then loaded it into PPaint, PAL, High Resolution, EHB, Extra Half Bright, using best quality Floyd Steinberg dithering. The result is a stunning contrast of dark and warm colors. It is one of the rare, very sweet scenes of autistic life that are difficult to capture. And the story behind it is a good 50% of the picture. Just really, really special. Really special. And I love it, and I'm so glad that he was able to take this picture and do this. Any opinions on this one?
Yeah, it's a beautiful emotional image, and I mean, love the color. I love the theme of it too. I think often when we take photos, we always want people to look at the camera and smile, you know. But what I love more about photos is where you're capturing someone in their space at that time. They're not smiling at the camera. They're just, you know, reflecting, dreaming, doing their own thing, and it's more authentic, you know. These sort of photos. It's not staged. It's just a beautiful moment that you just captured.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really like this one. I think he did a great job. Okay, now let's move along to Tony Day. And Tony Day created a real piece of artwork right here. This impressed everybody that has seen it so far. I wish I had more details about exactly the tools he used, but he did not provide them, just that it was created on an Amiga. But this is called Boing Ball Cat AGA. And wow, really, really impressed with this one. I love the details on the hair is just beautiful, and of course the fact that you can actually see the cat's iris and the color of the eye behind the Boing Ball texture that's mapped over it, and the fact that it's got the reflection in it, really cool. So what do you think about this one, Kevin? This was a big fan of a big hit with the patrons too.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's a 3D render actually in some ways. You know, that eye there has a very three-dimensional look to it, and it's as we always love seeing the Amiga theme put into some image. It's a pretty cool one. It's very clever. I like it a lot.
Yeah. This is an impressive image. This one really is cool. And oh, cool! I see that Royce Hunt from our previous pictures is actually in the chat, and he says he plays the kettle drum, electric kettle drum, some kind of kettle drum in the band, which is really cool. You need to send me some of the music, Royce. I'd love to hear it. Fantastic. Now, that is the final contributor to the photo contest, which is really cool. And so it's about time that we talk about the winners of the photo contest. Okay, let's talk about the runner-up. The runner-up this year. I could have just left this image right up because the winner is Boing Ball Cat AGA. This is our third place runner-up. So I'm going to print out a beautiful picture of this and send it off along with a certificate. And Tony Day did an incredible, incredible job. So let's talk about what's next. All right. This next one, I would say the photo category, we went back and forth with first, second, and third place winners about 1,100 times, trying to figure out who goes where and what goes where. This was our final decision, though, because it's so authentically Amiga. Philip Heron did such an authentically Amiga job with this, and it not only brings in great photograph and great editing of the photograph, but it means something to the Amiga community too, with that beautiful Amiga sitting right there. What's your opinion on this one? Do you think?
Yeah, well, this is, I think this is a well-deserved second place for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a very Amiga-centric. I think I just like the contrast though, also of the photographic and that simple cartoon element to it.
Mm-hmm.
You can just imagine watching this being animated. Looks like it's a very quite simple concept, but it's I love the idea of blending different styles too, of photographic and that cartoon look in this particular design. And the patrons voted this is one of the popular ones as well, so that made our choices a little bit easier in the end, because it was incredibly challenging to decide.
A lot of people really enjoyed this one for sure. Looks like Kevin Quattro just came into the chat too. He says he's watching while sitting in my car eating Burger King. Kevin, did you bring enough for all of us? I'm an Impossible Whopper guy myself with cheese, order of onion rings, medium iced tea. Just send it on over, pal. So let's talk about the winner of the first place in the photo category. And that is none other than, drum roll please, as the image comes up, our good friend Anthony Jarvis from the Amiga show. This one just really, really hit me hard from the first time I saw it on his show, and then when he submitted it, really enjoyed this one, and that what's behind it and how he did it is what's really important to me. And I think this is absolutely worthy of first place in the photo category of Amiga Art Contest. Any last thoughts on the photo competition and this entry in particular?
Yeah, I agree. This is well deserved. It's I think Anthony's tapped into something that I hope he explores more. Actually, it's really quite fascinating. I love that breakdown of the different captured elements of people in that space. It's well deserved first place.
Absolutely. And if you check the chat right now, people are placing their orders with Kevin Quattro for Burger King. I think we have about 15 people who've now placed their orders with Kevin Quattro. So Kevin, get your credit card out, and thanks for buying lunch for the entire crew here. We appreciate it. Fantastic. And you know what, Kevin? That brings us to the end of all of our entrants to the Amiga Art Contest 2022. And there were a lot, and there were still probably a good 30 images we didn't even look at because of some people entering multiple times, with all kinds of entries. But are we done yet? Have we missed anything? I don't know, best of show winner? Did we miss anything like that?
Yes, I think we've missed something.
I did. This was also very difficult for us, and we juggled several things up and down. Okay, what if we did this, and what if we moved this here, and where if we would, just to try and find the best of show. Best of show is not always, the most photographic quality or the most gorgeous 3D rendered image. Some of it is the work behind it, the feeling behind it, the motivations behind it, what the person says about it. All of these things add up to a best of show winner. And I think very possibly we made the right choice with the Best of Show winner this year. And so let's take a look at who that just might be. Give me 1 second here.
Cue the drum roll.
Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's
Time Warp.
Let's take a
Kidnapped? Oh, Daddy! Idiot!
Spirited away to a wrinkle in time by the evil wizard Mordroc, Daphne will be forced to marry the wicked Mordroc unless Dirk can save her.
My Daphne kidnapped! Mommy's gone.
Transported by a bumbling old time machine, Dirk begins the rescue mission.
Mine!
Do it for the children. Once the casket of doom has opened, Mordroc will place the death ring upon Daphne's finger in marriage, and she will be lost forever in the Time Warp.
And wow, yeah, Dragon's Lair as the final Best of Show winner. Let's bring Kevin back. Let's bring our sponsors back, and let's bring the Amiga back. Yes, I like that. Let's bring the Amiga back. I think this was well deserved. We watched H create this from the beginnings back on the Amiga Artwork Facebook page, where he would periodically post updates to what he's done, how he's done it, showing his step-by-step images. All of that contributed to making this the Best of Show, because we were able to actually watch the creation of this in almost real time over the span of what felt like a couple months, I think. And the end result, just fantastic. Just knocks my socks off every time I watch it. It's so good. And I can't wait for him to finish the entire game. Every frame, the entire game. H, you got till next year. October 11th will be the deadline again. Get busy, buddy. What's your opinion of the Best of Show there, Kevin?
Yeah, well deserved. It's an incredible, I mean, it was such a hard decision in some ways, but in other ways it was actually really quite an easy decision in this particular case, because such a stunning animation, and you could just see the enormous amount of work involved in it, and then it takes you back to, you know, when you actually installed Dragon's Lair on your computer. I think it's 12 discs or 14 or something. It was just I had to buy another floppy drive to get that game working.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
It's a beautiful animation.
Yeah, I bought the original Dragon's Lair on my Amiga for my Amiga 500, and it was only 6 or 8 discs for the first one. I know it was more for the second, but it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. And yeah, H did such a good job. He's such a talented artist. Follow him on Instagram and on Facebook, and you'll find some of the other cool stuff that he does. He's just really talented and well-deserved of this happy little A500 Mini that will soon be winging its way over to H. Baraldo. Well deserved, my friend. And that really brings Amiga Art Contest 2022 to a close. We added a few new things this year, like the third place category and the tie for first place in the hand-drawn competition. All of those things were fairly last minute, but I think they were important to share everything and all the talent that these people have and all the work that they put in. I think it was important that we did that. I really appreciate everybody stopping by. Those of you who've stayed here for the full 200 hours that we've been recording, or however long it's been, thank you so much. Those of you that have been able to drop in and drop out, thank you so much. As usual, I will also make, over the next week or two, a shortened down version. And being that all of my videos are 10 minutes or less, you know I'll fit it right in under that 10-minute mark every single time. I'll make a shortened version of this to put on my YouTube channel too. But thanks so much. And Kevin, thank you for joining me this year. It was a real pleasure bringing you in on this, and love your expertise and your knowledge that you brought to this. And Vicky, I think you've gone, but oh, you're back, Vicky. Vicky, loved having you on for so many years, and of course you're welcome back anytime. Maybe next year there'll be 3 of us judging. Who knows? What are your final thoughts there, Kevin?
Well, I'd like to say thank you to you, Doug, because you realise how big a task this is, and I was just a small aspect of it. Well, you know, and it was quite a lot of work to go through the choices, be really careful, be really mindful. We had quite a few meetings, and you know, on how we can best judge these. But I think also we have to give credit to every single person who's submitted, no matter how big or small, because you know that's what makes the difference each year. Is you know somebody spent half an hour in paint program, and you know, submit something. That's fantastic. Some people might spend weeks, but no matter how big or small the project or submission, we both appreciate the work that you've
Thank you.
allowed us to present, and we've got a lot more. Yeah, thank you, Doug, too. Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Awesome effort.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And there will absolutely be an Amiga Art Contest 2023. I may extend the deadline a little, maybe start it in May instead of June to give people more time. But start your artwork now, people. Get busy on it now. You've got a whole year, almost a year, to get your next entries in. But there will definitely be an Amiga Art Contest 2023. Thanks to all the contributors. Thanks to everyone who's here watching now. All my friends, all my patrons, and Jamie Orlando's here. Wonderful. You guys are just fantastic. But I think it's time we draw this to a close, and appreciate everything everyone's done. But until next time, this is Doug from 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast signing out. And I think Kevin is too.